Part 36. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 351. Tao Yao showed a gentle smile from the bottom of her heart and touched the heads of the children gathered around her. Did you miss your sister when she was away? Yes, we all miss Sister Yao so much. A little girl finally squeezed in front of Tao Yao, raised her chubby little hands, and happily asked for a hug. Sister Yao, can you stay a few more days when you come back this time? You are always in a hurry. I haven't said a lot of things to you, and I haven't played a lot of games with you. Okay, come back this time. Sister will definitely stay a few more days. Tao Yao randomly touched the little girl's little head with braids, took out a handful of candies, and stuffed them into the hands of the children in front of her. Hey, go play with the candies. Sister, go home first. Come on, I'll come back and see you later. Good. The children responded happily and scattered away. Here. Suliang stepped forward and asked tentatively. This is my natal home. No, it's my home. Tao Yao smiled tenderly, and this smile came from the heart. It seemed that the moment she stepped into the village, all the brilliance was washed away, leaving only the most innocent and gentle side of Tao Yao. Let's go, brother Suliang, let's go in first. I haven't been back for a long time. I wonder if everyone is doing well. With that said, Tao Yao took Suliang's hand and walked into the village. And the two of them had just entered the village. Thanks to the report from the previous group of children, everyone in the village knew that Tao Yao was back, so they all walked out of their homes and welcomed her warmly. Yao, you are finally back. A person who looked like an ant came over, took Tao Yao's hand, and looked at her carefully. After a moment, she smiled. We haven't seen you for such a long time, Yao, you are becoming more and more beautiful. Where are you, Auntie? Please don't make fun of me. Tao Yao held her aunt's hand and joked coquettishly. Seeing this scene, Suliang was shocked. Could it be that I haven't woken up yet and am still dreaming? The girl in front of him, who is cute and naive, even acting like a spoiled child to her good elders, is really the Tao Yao who sticks to her side with various purposes all day long? This doesn't look like it at all. It's totally two people. At this time, Tao Yao had already taken out a bunch of things and handed them to the aunt in front of her, and, these are the things I brought back for you and your uncle. Immediately, Tao Yao looked at the people gathered around to greet them again, and took out a lot of things one after another and began to distribute them. Uncles and aunts, these are the materials and gifts that Yao brought back to you this time. It's a lot, just don't dislike it. You kid, you bring so many things every time you come back. The beautiful woman, who looked quite fierce at first, but with a gentle smile at the moment, walked forward and took Tao Yao's hand. You can just live well outside, why do you worry about us so much? He, this is what Yao should do. Tao Yao looked well behaved, with a charming smile on her face. Don't worry, Auntie. With my current status in the sect, it's very easy to buy these. It will be good if you have this heart, and it will be good if you come back. The beautiful woman stroked Tao Yao's hair affectionately and kindly, with an uncontrollable smile on her face. I'm fine, Auntie, just don't worry. Tao Yao smiled happily, just like a filial girl. Hiss. Suliang gently twisted the back of his hand, and immediately took a breath of air, feeling the pain and confirming that he was not dreaming. But since it's not a dream, it's very strange. This girl, Tao Yao, was fighting against the sky and the earth, having all kinds of overt and covert fights, and having treacherous thoughts. She obviously looked like a witch, but when she came home, she turned out to be so cute and gentle in front of her elders. Is this gap too big? At this time, a group of different children also gathered around. Sister Yao, Sister Yao Yao, do you have my gift? Sister Yao Yao, come to my house. My parents have been quarreling every day recently, and only Sister Yao Yao can persuade them. Sister Yao Yao, are there any fun games out there lately? Can you teach us about them? A baby who had just learned to walk was brought to Tao Yao Yao by her family. She stretched out her fleshy little hands, giggled and begged for sweets. Sister, sweet. Looking at this scene, Suliang felt that he was shocked again. Tao Yao Yao has just come back, but the children are so enthusiastic. No matter what they ask, Tao Yao Yao wants Tao Yao Yao to help. It is enough to show that in the eyes of the children, Tao Yao Yao, this sweet big sister, is really worth it. How reliable. The cute and gentle beautiful girl in front of the elders, the sweet and reliable big sister in the eyes of the children, is this really Tao Yao Yao? Suliang was dumbfounded the whole time. He followed Tao Yao Yao into the village and felt like he was shocked to the point of numbness. At this moment. But someone asked, Yao Yao, why did you bring a young man back this time? What is this young man's identity? It's just friends. Tao Yao Yao replied immediately, but as she spoke, she carefully looked at Suliang's face, feeling quite guilty, but still affirmed, well, they are really just friends. But having said that, I have always had the idea of seduce him, and I have given away benefits for free more than once. Such a relationship should, probably, maybe be considered a friend, right? But no matter what, everyone didn't believe Tao Yao Yao's words the whole time. This is Yao Yao's first time bringing someone of the opposite sex back with her. Needless to say, it must be her boyfriend. Alas, in a blink of an eye, Yao Yao has reached the age of temptation. That night, after dealing with the enthusiastic elders and children, Tao Yao Yao and Suliang were taken to the room arranged for them. Arrive. The rather aggressive-looking beautiful woman opened the door and let Suliang and Tao Yao Yao walk in. She said with a smile, the conditions are a bit crude. After all, they are no better than the houses of people outside you. Please be more patient. Auntie, what are you talking about? Tao Yao Yao smiled and said, I have missed our house for a long time, and brother Suliang will definitely not mind. Hearing this, Suliang nodded, saying that he really didn't mind. As long as you don't mind, then, you two should go to bed early. The beautiful woman said, turned around and walked out, closing the door behind her. Immediately. In the room, Suliang and Tao Yao Yao looked at each other in silence. Seem only given one room? Arranged to sleep together? These relatives. It's really a divine assist. This, why is there only one room and one bed? Tao Yao Yao looked at the furnishings in the room, her pretty face flushed, extremely embarrassed, and the shame in her heart was simply off the charts. She really didn't expect that after finally coming back, she would be arranged by her relatives. There was not one room, one bed, not even a chair, and there were no extra beddings that could be spread on the floor. Wouldn't this mean that Suliang would have to sleep on the same bed? How can this be possible? Although I have been flirting with Suliang on weekdays, that's just master's mission, right? Looking at the bed, then at Suliang, then at the bed, and then at Suliang, Tao Yao Yao felt that her whole body was in bad shape, and her overwhelming shame almost made her turn around and run away. But if she really does this, the persona she has worked so hard to create in Shengjing these days will collapse. Originally, she had always shown her deep love for Suliang. Even though she was portrayed as an innocent girl next door, she would inevitably be shy when sharing a bed with the one she loved, but she would never refuse or even run away. Then, Tao Yao Yao had no choice but to look at Suliang and stammered, Brother Suliang, it's definitely my aunt and the others who made a mistake. You, don't think too much. Don't worry, I won't think too much about it. Suliang just lay down on the bed, shook his head, and said as if it was a matter of course, This matter is easy to handle. Just go to your aunt and ask them to change a room for you. After hearing this, all Tao Yao's worries disappeared, and she only felt extremely angry. You actually want a girl to change rooms, Suliang, what are you thinking? How did someone like you get Sister Tou and the others, and how did he get so much attention from Master? I really can't figure it out. She thought angrily, and the more she thought about it, the angrier she became. Finally, Tao Yao was really angry and asked, why should I change? Why doesn't Brother Suliang take the initiative to change to another room? In response, Suliang just said lightly, can you beat me? Tao Yao was speechless immediately. Even the round and upright softness behind him felt a slight pain, as if the palm was still making a crisp sound on it. Tao Yao knew that she was indeed no match for Suliang, and there was even a long way to go between her and Suliang. Otherwise, she would not have been crushed by Suliang during the sparring that day. But even if she didn't say anything, Tao Yao was still unhappy in her heart. Why would you let a girl change rooms? It's not very graceful at all. Simply. Tao Yao was so angry that she also lay down on the bed. She covered her body with the quilt, only her little head was exposed. I don't want to change rooms. At worst, we can sleep together. You don't dare to mess around anyway. Come. When you sleep, just treat yourself as if there is a wooden man lying next to you. Hearing this, Suliang glanced at Tao Yao speechlessly. This girl really looks like an angry girl at this moment, but she is much cuter than that witch pose. But want to be angry with me? After all, you girl is a little more mature. It seems it's time to teach this girl a lesson. As soon as he thought of this, Suliang suddenly lifted the quilt, then turned over and rested on Tao Yao's soft and tender body. Immediately afterwards, supporting his body with one hand and holding Tao Yao's delicate chin with the other, Suliang stepped forward, with an inexplicable smile on his face, and pushed Tao Yao's wall to the bed on the spot. I don't dare to mess around. Suliang's hand gently caressed Tao Yao's delicate and tender cheek, and then moved all the way down, across the pink and waxy lips, picking up a little silver thread, but kept going all the way. Dao, who gave you the courage to say this? Suliang's eyes narrowed slightly, and his voice was unspeakably evil. At the same time, his hand came to his waist and gently opened Tao Yao's waist belt, revealing her beauty. Next moment, the hand returned to the neck and continued all the way down. The fingertips seemed to have been scratching the girl's soft and delicate ice muscles. They even climbed over the peaks, crossed the mountains above the peaks, passed by the flat belly, and all the way to the deep valley is yet to be entered. Suliang, what do you want to do? Tao Yao was very panicked and asked with a trembling voice. What do you think? Suliang asked back, all the answers are in it. Immediately, lowering his head and leaning forward, Suliang sniffed for a moment, and the smile widened at the corner of his mouth. Warm fragrant nephrite, a delicate beauty, it is indeed moist and silky. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 352. Listening to Suliang's words, Tao Yao's heart immediately filled with embarrassment. She avoided looking at Suliang, her face turned red as if on fire, and she quickly begged for mercy. I was wrong, Yao knows you are wrong, Brother Suliang, please let me go. Humph, that's pretty much it? Suliang nodded with satisfaction, turned around and left, lying aside and covering himself with the quilt. Sleep, sleep. It was late at night and everything was quiet, but Tao Yao widened her shining eyes, looked at Suliang blankly, and suddenly said, Brother Suliang, can I tell you a story? Anyway, we can't sleep. Okay. Suliang nodded. After thinking for a moment, Tao Yao said, a long time ago, there was a little girl who followed her mother and came here and lived there. But the little girl at that time was weak and had no strength at all. She couldn't protect herself at all. After blinking, Suliang realized something, but did not expose it and continued, "What then?" "Then, the little girl is extremely talented. Fortunately, the master favored her and took her with her to take care of her and teach her how to practice." While speaking, Tao Yao seemed to think of something, and a smile appeared on her lips. "Thanks to this, the little girl has the strength to protect herself." "Brother Suliang, what do you think of this story?" Regarding this, Suliang cursed, "What story? That little girl is you, right?" "Humph, Brother Suliang, you know what you're seeing but don't tell." Tao Yao snorted dissatisfied and pouted, "I want to say that I understand the truth. I want to avoid being bullied, so I treat others worse. This is my personal experience." Hearing this, Suliang turned his head and glanced at Tao Yao without saying anything. "Who taught this truth? The children's path has gone astray. However, I see." Suliang nodded, but couldn't criticize it. Don't encourage others to do good unless they have suffered. Suliang has never experienced what Tao Yao has experienced, so he is naturally not qualified to judge Tao Yao. He doesn't think he has the qualifications. Early morning. Suliang slowly opened his eyes, but for the first time, he turned to look into his arms. I saw. In Suliang's arms, Tao Yao faced Suliang, her arms tightly hugged Suliang, and her whole body was curled up inside, with a sweet and peaceful smile on her face, and a hint of crystal could be seen vaguely at the corner of her mouth. Flashing, like a lazy cat. Cute, charming, yet pure and tranquil. The contrast between her posture and her usual look of a seductive woman with all her tricks and smoky eyes was really too big, but it actually made her even more adorable. Is this what is called contrasting cuteness? Suliang blinked his eyes and showed a hint of doting smile unconsciously. He reached out his hand and pinched Tao Yao's delicate white and smooth face, and tightened his arms to make Tao Yao sleep more comfortably. Volume 1 Chapter 331 2-Level Reversal, the lesson learned last night was too light. Not long after. Well. Tao Yao snorted softly, smacked her lips, slowly opened her eyes, and met Suliang's eyes at close range. "Su, Brother Suliang." Tao Yao said in a daze, feeling the reassuring and warm breath lingering around her. She was stunned for a moment. Has the little lazy cat finally woken up?" Suliang smiled and said, "Tisk, Yao, you slept very comfortably last night. You drooled all over my arms. You crawled into my arms last night. I couldn't bear to disturb you, so I simply let you in." "Me?" Tao Yao said in a daze, subconsciously lowering her head and taking a look at where she was at the moment. Her pretty face suddenly turned red. "What did I do last night?" He actually got into Suliang's arms and slept peacefully all night, and what's more, he slept so poorly. Just thinking about it makes me feel a little bit broken. Okay. No wonder, I felt my face was wet in the dream. It turned out that it was all my fault. Subconsciously covering her face, Tao Yao whimpered in a low voice, feeling so embarrassed that she felt embarrassed to look at Suliang again. Seeing Tao Yao's appearance, Suliang didn't say anything to stimulate her. He felt that if he stimulated her again, this girl would turn into a steam girl on the spot. After a while, Tao Yao reluctantly raised her head, but her eyes were still evasive. She didn't dare to look at Suliang at all, and her voice was scary. "Brother Suliang, you didn't look at anything last night?" "Been there, no, nothing." "Well, I haven't seen anything." Suliang nodded and satisfied Tao Yao's request. However, now, Tao Yao was a little unhappy. "Brother Suliang, what do you mean?" Tao Yao said with some annoyance, "Obviously, you obviously took advantage, Okay. Why do you still react so blandly? Why, does what happened last night make you feel so unbearable to look back and want to forget it? Hearing this, Suliang was completely confused. I don't know anything. Isn't this what you asked for? This girl, what is going on? For a moment, Suliang felt speechless and didn't know what to say. Seeing this, Tao Yao Yao became even more angry. Humph, brother Suliang is annoying. Tao Yao Yao snorted and subconsciously patted Suliang's chest. Rather than being angry, it was more like coquettishness. You actually dislike others so much that they don't want to care about you anymore. You girl, you are actually complaining about me. Suliang finally couldn't bear it anymore and rolled his eyes, feeling that the lesson he taught last night was not enough, so he subconsciously took action and firmly grasped Tao Yao Yao's hands. Immediately afterwards, snapped. A slap hit Tao Yao Yao's soft and upright body behind her, and the ripples were like spring waves, which was evocative. Instantly, feeling the heat behind her, Tao Yao Yao was stunned. After a while, she finally came to her senses and struggled quickly. Suliang, let me go, you are shameless, you are despicable, you take advantage of others' danger. While struggling, Tao Yao Yao scolded her, but her voice was soft and sweet at the moment, and her words were not lethal at all. She was more like a girl acting coquettishly with her lover. Okay, stop making trouble, it's time to get up. Suliang was too lazy to talk to Tao Yao Yao and immediately let go of Tao Yao Yao's hand. But then, his eyes froze for a moment, and then he subconsciously turned his head. Last night, after Suliang taught Tao Yao Yao a lesson, her clothes were not fully put on, and her clothes were open. In addition, the two of them had a fight before, so what Suliang saw in front of her was extremely eye-catching. I saw. Tao Yao Yao's skirt is open, but the pair of peaks that leap out are half-covered, with clear outlines, white and pink, and even the touch of a peach blossom that looks like a blooming peach blossom comes into view, showing the purity of the girl. All the way down, there is no cover for the flat belly, and a pair of slender legs are white and smooth, as pure and smooth as jade, and because the peaches are close together, they are half hidden. Although the whole picture cannot be seen, it is even more fascinating. At this moment, it is just like the sudden appearance of spring and the revival of all things. Ahem. Suliang coughed lightly and reminded, although it is morning now, we should still put on our clothes. Hearing this, Tao Yao Yao was stunned and subconsciously looked at herself. Then, her whole body froze, and her pretty face was so red that it seemed like she could bleed. Surprisingly, he actually saw them all. For a moment, Tao Yao Yao was about to cry without tears, and the shame in her heart had exceeded the critical point. At this moment, a cute little loli's little head floated up from under the window, looking at the two people in the room. Her eyes suddenly widened, as if it was true. Sure enough, this brother is Sister Yao Yao's boyfriend. Hearing this, Tao Yao Yao gathered her clothes. She didn't even care about her shyness, and immediately turned her head, wanting to explain something. But before she had time to speak, the little loli had already run away. This is over. Having been seen by someone, I can't clean it up at all now, but this is all just a misunderstanding. Predicting that things were going to be bad, Tao Yao Yao looked at Suliang, her eyes full of resentment. Suliang was indifferent to this, but stood up directly and said, "Get up quickly, I will help you comb your hair." "Oh." Tao Yao Yao responded in a low voice. She didn't know how to face Suliang for a moment, so she had to stand up slowly and sit in front of Suliang. Immediately afterwards, Suliang picked up the comb and, little by little, gently and slowly, helped Tao Yao Yao comb her hair after sleeping all night, and combed out the messy hair. Gradually, Tao Yao Yao calmed down and became uncommonly honest. With a faint smile on her face, she felt Suliang's movements on her head, very well behaved. For a time, the difference between the two people was actually a bit warm. But right now, Suliang and Tao Yaoyao suddenly heard the noise outside the door gradually becoming noisy. Suliang frowned and whispered, "Let's go out and take a look." No matter who the visitor was, Suliang could clearly feel that the people outside were obviously not good-natured. Opening the door a crack, Suliang looked out and saw at a glance, many men with strong evil spirits, gloomy faces and advanced cultivation, who seemed to be guards, standing behind a young girl. The girl looks dignified and elegant, with a tall and slender figure. Her peak is gradually gaining momentum, enough to be held in a hand. She is small and cute, but her delicate face is very similar to Tao Yaoyao. But compared to Tao Yaoyao's naughty charm, this girl is more young and dignified, looking like a lady, and has nothing to do with the word witch. But looking at the group of guards behind her, Suliang quickly determined that these people must be from the demonic forces. Why would the demonic forces focus on such a small village? Suliang frowned and thought, is it because of Tao Yaoyao? And the most important thing is that if these people really come to trouble Tao Yaoyao, then only he and Tao Yaoyao want to protect this village. Suliang was not worried about whether he would be the opponent of this group of guards, but the people in this village had little cultivation. Even if the aftermath of the battle was leaked, they would suffer heavy casualties, and it was really difficult to protect them. While Suliang was thinking, Tao Yaoyao pushed Suliang away, opened the door, walked straight outside, and stood in front of these demonic forces. "Why are you here?" Tao Yaoyao's pretty face darkened slightly. She looked at the group of demonic people in front of her, not feeling the slightest bit angry. "Tisk, this girl is really causing trouble." Suliang frowned slightly, and just as he was about to go out, he heard the girl saying, "Hello, sister is back after a long time." "As a sister, how can I not come to see my sister? Elder sister? Younger sister?" Suliang looked at the two people with similar faces in confusion. These two people were actually sisters? No wonder these two people imagined it so. However, something is wrong. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 353. In a daze, Suliang remembered the experience Tao Yaoyao told him last night. This girl seems to have followed her mother here since she was a child. Later, with the help of her master, she gained the strength to protect herself. So, were this girl and her mother kicked out of the house? Then, the mother and daughter who were kicked out of their home settled in the village. The girl worked silently, just to protect herself and her mother? In an instant, Suliang's mind made up a drama of joys and sorrows based on his previous experiences. If Si himself guessed correctly, then this girl was here to cause trouble for Tao Yaoyao. Suliang raised his eyebrows. Before he could think about it carefully, Suliang opened the door and walked out. He stood firmly in front of Tao Yaoyao and said in a deep voice, "What do you want to do?" After a moment of silence, Suliang continued, "Yaoyao came out with me, so I have the obligation to protect her. If you want to touch her, you have to get past me first." Looking at Suliang, who suddenly stood in front of her, and listening to what Suliang said, Tao Yaoyao blushed and felt her heart pounding. Her heart was pounding like a deer, beating incessantly, always in peace. "Can't tell. Suliang, are you willing to protect me like this? Apart from Master, he seems to be the first person willing to protect me." Thinking in his heart, looking at the well-proportioned figure in front of him, Tao Yaoyao's beautiful eyes were full of color, and inexplicable emotions were surging. But then, Tao Yaoyao reacted and said with a strange expression, "Brother Suliang, you seem to have misunderstood. She is not here to trouble me." "Ha! Su Liang froze and turned his head to look at Tao Yao, feeling a little confused. Not here to cause trouble? Then you didn't tell me earlier. If that were the case, then my behavior just now to protect you would have been very embarrassing. The two sisters finally met and had a heart-to-heart relationship with each other, but they suddenly rushed out shouting and killing. Su Liang only felt that he should be at the beach now. In this case, he could dig out a 3-bedroom apartment with his feet. I have met this young master. Tao Yao's sister seemed to notice Su Liang's embarrassment. She took a step forward with a polite smile on her pretty face and an elegant and dignified manner. She bowed slightly and bowed. After Yingying bowed, she began to take the initiative to clarify the misunderstanding. Young master has the heart to protect my sister. As a younger sister, I am very happy for my sister, but young master has indeed misunderstood. My sister and I both come from the demon sect family. In fact, the relationship between us two sisters has always been very good. I came here to look for my sister this time because my mother sent me a message, hoping that my sister could go back. Hearing this, Tao Yao immediately took a step back, hid behind Su Liang, and said reluctantly, I don't want to go back. Every time I go back to see my mother, nothing good will happen. This time my mother asked me to go back, she was obviously trying to trick me. As she spoke, Tao Yao seemed to be quite scornful of her mother. Sister, this is what my mother said. Sister, you should go back with me. The younger sister looked at her older sister with a headache, and persuaded her patiently and gently. I don't want it, I don't want it. Tao Yao resisted this very much. She actually hugged Su Liang's arm and protested to her sister, I tell you, my thigh is right here. Brother Su Liang is very strong. Apart from my mother, besides, there are very few people who are his rivals. Even if I face my mother, Brother Su Liang can lead me away unscathed. So, no one can force me. This young master seems indeed to be brave, but this is our family's family matter. Why should my sister embarrass an outsider? My sister wrinkled her pretty eyebrows in distress. Sister, why are you always so willful? If you do this, no matter you, me, mother, or even this young master, you will always be that man. No, no. Tao Yao made a face at her sister, then hugged Su Liang's arm and rocked it back and forth, coquettishly, Brother Su Liang, why don't you go back to the Lun family? You have to learn etiquette and so on when you go back. It's really annoying someone is dead, Brother Su Liang, you must protect him. Listening to Tao Yao's words and looking at Tao Yao's appearance at this time, Su Liang continued to have a black question mark face. This girl is completely different from last night. Why did the cute Tao Yao look like this again yesterday? Seeing Su Liang's head filled with questions, Tao Yao playfully stuck out her tongue and asked, Brother, what are you thinking about? Wait a minute, let me think. Su Liang scratched his head and asked curiously, Yao, what exactly did you experience when you were a child? I haven't experienced anything. There are no hard experiences at all. Tao Yao looked innocent, I just met the master and ran away with him to avoid being raised by my mother to be a noble lady like my sister. Is there anything wrong with that? Oh, Brother Su Liang, you don't know about etiquette and so on. It's so annoying. I really don't want to learn it. Looking at Tao Yao with an innocent face, Su Liang was speechless. It turns out that you just ran away with master? Such an outrageous thing, thank you for being so difficult and tragic and sensational last night that I even believed it. If I had known this earlier, I would have believed you to be a ghost, okay. Volume 1 # Chapter 332 I was finally moved, why are you like this? Turning to look at Tao Yao's sister, Su Liang asked numbly, are you sure she is your biological sister? Sir, we are indeed sisters. My sister replied with a dignified and elegant smile on her face. That's good. Since this is your family's business, it's not easy for me, an outsider, to control it. Su Yang said, raising his hand and throwing Tao Yao over. I have nothing to do with her. You can take her away, girl. See you later. After saying that, Su Yang turned around and left. Just kidding, it's about your family, and besides, Dao, you've cheated me so hard, and you still want me to stand up for you? What a beautiful thought. Brother Su Yang, don't leave. Tao Yao stretched out her hand towards Su Yang and shouted sadly, don't leave, brother Su Yang, you can't leave me alone. No, please don't call me brother, I'm not familiar with you. Su Yang said calmly and took a step back. Seeing this, Tao Yao was dumbfounded. She brought Su Yang back just to let Su Yang accompany her. Now that Su Yang had abandoned her, what would she do? Is it possible that I really want to follow my sister home to learn those annoying ethics? No, I don't want it. Breaking free from her sister's restraints, Tao Yao rushed forward, holding Su Yang's arm. Her eyes were red and tearful, her little nose was wrinkled, she looked pitiful, and begged, Brother Su Yang, I beg you, please come home with me. If Brother Su Yang doesn't come with me, my mother will definitely force me to learn some ethics. Brother Su Yang, I beg you. But Su Yang refused. No, please allow me to refuse. Just kidding, I'm not stupid, how could I possibly go back with you? Brother Su Yang, just come with me. Tao Yao held Su Yang's arm and shook it, and even deliberately dug Su Yang's arm into her breasts as a temptation. My home is not far from here, and I will be here soon when you arrive, just go with me. After that, Tao Yao reported the location of her home. Su Yang was immediately stunned when he heard this. The location of Dao Yao's home seems to be in the same place as the opportunity mentioned by Master? If so, it wouldn't hurt to go once. After thinking for a while, Su Yang finally nodded and agreed, okay, then I'll go with you. Brother Su Yang is the best. Seeing Su Yang agree, Tao Yao cheered and immediately hung on Su Yang, unwilling to come down again no matter what. Inside the demon sect family. As Tao Yao's sister walked into the aristocratic family, Su Yang followed Tao Yao to the main hall to meet Tao Yao's mother. As soon as he entered the main hall, Su Yang saw a graceful and elegant beauty sitting there. The beauty has a plump and perfect figure, erect peaks, willow waist and beautiful legs. It is the time of mature charm. Just sitting there calmly, she has a graceful and elegant appearance, with a majestic demeanor and no anger. This is my mother and the head of our family. Tao Yao whispered in Su Yang's ear and introduced. Hearing this, Su Yang's eyes flashed with a hint of understanding. No wonder he had a feeling of Yuan Ting Yuji when he looked at the beautiful girl. It turned out that she was the head of a family, and he should be of the same level as his master? At this time, Su Yang and the other two people had already walked in front of the Americans. Mom, I brought my sister back. My sister Yingying bowed and said softly, but she only received a beautiful and gentle nod. Seeing this, Tao Yao couldn't help but swallow, and then, nervous but pretending to be excited, she walked up, Mother, Yao is back. I haven't seen you for such a long time. Mother, do you miss Yao? Ah. After hearing Tao Yao's words, the beautiful lady's slightly closed eyes opened, but she just glanced at Tao Yao with a cold attitude. You haven't had enough trouble? It's time to come back. My daughter is not fooling around. Tao Yao immediately pursed her lips, feeling dissatisfied but not daring to show it. Judging from the way the two choked before finishing a sentence, it was obvious that Tao Yao and her mother were quite difficult to deal with. It's not a joke. Tao Yao's mother glanced at her indifferently. You just ran out with the master without saying a word. After so many years, you only came home a few times, and you still said you weren't fooling around. How can this be nonsense? Tao Yao Yao was trembling in the face of her mother's power, but she still insisted on her choice. I don't want to be a lady, and following the master is the most correct choice. I think I did the right thing. There are always a few people who make mistakes and can take the initiative to admit their mistakes. Tao Yao Yao's mother sneered at her daughter's excuses, and you are not among them. Snort. Tao Yao Yao snorted softly, feeling aggrieved, but unable to refute her mother. After all, she and her mother have different ideas and it is difficult to get along with each other. In Dao Yao's view, in the eyes of her mother, what she does is never wrong. You just have to make yourself abide by your mother's rules. But that was exactly what she never wanted. Seeing that the two of them were talking to each other and not giving in to each other, Suliang couldn't bear it anymore and started to help Tao Yao Yao speak. Ahem, madam, please allow me to speak from the bottom of my heart. Suliang coughed lightly, attracting everyone's attention, and then said, Yao Yao does have a big flaw. She is overconfident, playful, and fun-loving. She has quite the temperament of a young lady, and her work is unsatisfactory. He often makes mistakes and never speaks the truth. This Yao Yao is really bad. Listening to Suliang's words, Tao Yao Yao was stunned, and then she almost cried without feeling aggrieved. She originally thought that Suliang was here to speak for her, but she didn't expect that Suliang would directly remove her bottom. Didn't I just cause you some trouble in Shengjing and lie to you a few times? How could you harm me like this, Suliang? I trusted you so much and brought you back. I was really blind. Her eyes were slightly red, tears welling up in her eyes. Thinking of her previous heartbeat, Tao Yao Yao almost cried. I was finally moved once, but you made me lose so completely. Suliang, you have no heart. But then, before Tao Yao Yao's mentality collapsed, Suliang changed the subject and put a gentle smile on his face. Although Tao Yao Yao is very bad, she is the kindest demonic person I have ever seen, even I can't compare with her. She is very confident, but she has been working hard to make herself worthy of this confidence. Among the young generation in the world, there are only a few who are stable. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 354. Volume 1 Chapter 333, A Brood of Sisters-in-Law, a stressed-out witch. Suliang's move of first lowering and then raising his hand made Tao Yao Yao's mood change from sadness to joy. She felt happy and a little touched, and her eyes looking at Suliang were a little more tender. Turn out to be. Is this the image I have in Suliang's mind? I don't know why, but I'm just happy. Different from Tao Yao Yao, Tao Yao Yao's mother looked over with a cold face. Her eyes were full of indifference, as if she were looking at an ant. It was full of intimidation and made people feel the ultimate pressure in an instant. What is your identity? Tao Yao Yao's mother questioned, how can you manage our family affairs? Feeling the majestic pressure covering his body, this pressure was as thick as a prison, as thick as ink, but as vast as the sea. Even if Tao Yao Yao's mother only released a little pressure, Suliang felt heavy. Ruo Wanjun, all the bones in his body were rattling. I wish I could lie down on the spot, just to be able to barely relieve the heavy feeling of pressure coming down on my body. Tao Yao Yao's mother is really another terrifying existence that transcends transcendence. A flash of understanding flashed in Suliang's eyes, but even so, he still didn't have any intention of bending down or bowing his head in fear. Instead, he straightened his back and withstood the tremendous pressure. He was neither humble nor arrogant, and stated his point of view loudly. I'm just Yao Yao's friend. I didn't mean to interfere with your family affairs by saying this. I just saw that my wife didn't care about Yao Yao's feelings, which made Yao Yao feel extremely wronged, so I wanted to explain to her. Perhaps the perfect Yao Yao in your heart is just like her sister, dignified, elegant, gentle and generous, just like every lady. But this is not what Yao Yao wants. Even if she is forced to do so, she is still not convinced. Although Yao Yao is against your will, she has already worked hard enough. You should see her achievements in your eyes. Perhaps compared to the path you have chosen for her, the path Yao Yao is taking at this time is the most suitable for her. What Yao Yao needs most now is your approval. After saying this, Suliang stood up and walked slowly to Tao Yao Yao. I have finished speaking, madam, you can take action on me. Although my cultivation is not as good as madam, I will not sit still and wait for death. As he spoke, the true energy in Suliang's body slowly mobilized against the pressure, gradually putting him in the best condition, able to take action at any time and take Tao Yao Yao away. Just kidding, Suliang is also very stressed when facing a transcendent figure. But as soon as Suliang finished speaking, the terrifying oppression covering his body that was almost crushing suddenly dissipated without a trace, as if it had never appeared before. Next moment, Tao Yao Yao's mother smiled. Her smile was gentle and kind, and said to Suliang, "My daughter is indeed as you said. She doesn't listen to me and has always been very bad. But she is the only one who doesn't look at the opposite sex. Questionable." "Ma'am, what are you talking about?" Suliang felt a little confused. Tao Yao Yao's mother looked like she was going to fall out with him just now. Why did she suddenly start laughing? And it's okay to say that your daughter is terrible. I actually agree with this point. But why are you talking about your daughter's view of the opposite sex? Does this have anything to do with what we are discussing now? But Tao Yao Yao's mother didn't care about Suliang's confusion at all. Her style changed instantly. From the majestic and indifferent head of the demon sect family, she suddenly became like a gentle mother-in-law. Her eyes were gentle and her smile was kind. She looked at Suliang and kept greeting her. "Your name is Suliang, right? Tisk tisk, you are indeed a talented person with outstanding talents. You can face my pressure without giving in or being afraid. Instead, you are willing to speak for Yao Yao. This character, well, is also very good. Sure enough, he is a very good young man." "Ma'am, that's a compliment." Suliang responded, but the confusion in his heart still did not dissipate. Immediately afterwards, Tao Yao Yao's mother said, "Suliang, which sect are you practicing in now? Who is the master? Do you have enough training resources on weekdays?" Replying to "Madam, I am currently in Tiandao sect, which is just a small section. Madam should have never heard of it. As for the master, my master's name is Wan Cheng. With my qualifications, I have no shortage of resources. Thank you madam for your concern." While responding to Tao Yao Yao's mother's words, Suliang was even more confused. He always felt that Tao Yao Yao's mother's attitude changed a little too quickly and was too weird. Such a gentle attitude was simply outrageous. "Okay. If you are lacking something, you can tell me. I can still afford some resources. You can't waste your talents." Tao Yao Yao's mother still said with a gentle and kind smile. Looking at the posture, Suliang seemed to have become his own son. "If there are any enemies here, please tell me. A family like ours from the demon sect, and others it's hard to say, but who to attack is just a matter of words. Thank you madam for your love. I have sufficient resources for this junior and I have no enemies. Madam doesn't have to worry about this junior." Suliang responded cautiously, unable to figure out why Tao Yao Yao's mother had changed like this. At this moment, Tao Yao Yao's mother suddenly stood up, walked to Suliang, and looked at Suliang carefully. "Suliang, don't move, let me take a good look at you." "That's, okay." Suliang's whole body stiffened. The beautiful woman in front of him was extremely far away from him. The faint fragrance hit his nostrils, which made him feel uncomfortable. Tao Yao Yao on the side looked at the scene with some suspicion in her heart. She cares so much about Suliang, is her mother greedy for men? After a while, Tao Yaoyao's mother sat back and looked at Suliang with admiration in her eyes. Well, not bad, not bad. You have a handsome face, great talent, extraordinary character, and a very good person. In the future, Suliang, you will definitely become famous. The world. Oh, no, I made a mistake. You are already famous all over the world now. The sword-slashing formation, suppressing countless geniuses in Daxia, and crushing the demon clones, these are all major events that can shock the world. Listening to her mother's words, Tao Yaoyao's expression gradually became a little strange. Is this the first time Suliang and his mother have met? Moreover, the two of them only exchanged a few words, and the mother had already expressed her appreciation for Suliang, and even knew his reputation well? Suliang is comparable to an elder killer. Sister Kinja, Sister Wanking, Senior Sister Qin. Now, even his mother is so close to Suliang, does he have the special attack bonus of the advanced system? At this time, Tao Yaoyao heard her mother say, well, since it's Suliang and you are interceding for Yaoyao, then this time, for your sake, I will reluctantly not pursue her. Thank you, ma'am. Suliang immediately cupped his fists and saluted, finally feeling relieved. After a while, Suliang walked out of the room, but was immediately greeted by a group of little guys. A group of little ones, led by the dignified and elegant daughter-in-law before, gathered around. The daughter-in-law bowed and said, Master, these are my sisters. They heard that the master is visiting, and the little ones have already heard about it. I said your name to him, I respect him, and I came here to meet you. Huh? Am I so famous? Suliang said with some confusion. He thought about it carefully. He didn't seem to have done anything, so why did he become so famous inexplicably? The little ones gathered around, all curious about Suliang. Brother Su, how did you catch Sister Yaoyao? Sister Yaoyao is so maverick, can Brother Su really tolerate it? Big brother, how did you achieve your cultivation? You and Sister Yaoyao are about the same age, but you are actually more powerful than Sister Yaoyao. Mr. Su, can you tell us about the Dragon Cave formation? How did Mr. Su strike out with that sword? Suliang was very patient. When faced with the children's questions, he patiently answered them one by one, always with a gentle smile on his face. To the end. The little ones looked at Suliang with admiration. Wow, Big Brother is really awesome. I wonder when we can become figures like Big Brother. Practice hard and one day you will reach my level. Suliang said with a smile. In the room. Dao Yaoyao did not follow Suliang out. After Suliang left, Tao Yaoyao walked straight to her mother without any hesitation and faced her mother directly. Mother, Brother Suliang is mine, that is my man, you are not allowed to rob him, and neither are the sisters. Tao Yaoyao said with great protectiveness, and immediately declared her sovereignty to her mother. This gesture was like a grinning little fox, with a fierce breast and a fierce breast. Facing her daughter's demonstration, Tao Yaoyao's mother looked cold and said nothing. She was completely different from when she was facing Suliang. After arranging a room for Suliang, as soon as Suliang moved in, there was a knock on the door. Immediately afterwards, Tao Yaoyao opened the door and walked in, with a soft smile on her face. Her pretty face was slightly red, her eyes were full of water, bright and moving, and she had a rare gentle attitude. Yaoyao. Suliang looked at Tao Yaoyao in confusion. What's the matter with you coming to me? It's nothing serious. I just wanted to see if Brother Suliang is satisfied with this house. Tao Yaoyao was slightly embarrassed, and the smile on her face became warmer and softer. Suliang nodded. Very satisfied. Pursing her red lips lightly, Tao Yaoyao stood in front of Suliang, twisting the corners of her clothes with her slender hands. I'm here to thank Brother Suliang for supporting me. If it weren't for what Brother Suliang said just now, Mother, you will definitely punish me again. Since I came with you, I can't just watch you being punished, right? Suliang replied with a smile, not caring at all that he just confronted a powerful person who was above the transcendence for Tao Yao Yao. He raised his eyes and glanced at Suliang. Looking at Suliang's handsome face with a gentle smile, he felt his heart beat a little faster. He murmured, "Those words that brother Suliang just praised me for, were sincere." "That's natural," Suliang replied immediately. After receiving Suliang's affirmation, Tao Yao Yao's eyes immediately burst out with a burst of affection. Unconsciously, she showed the coquettish and delicate posture of a little daughter. Then, "Yao Yao also wants to hear more about Suliang, brother, please praise me." "Brother Suliang, can you make Yao Yao's wish come true?" Unexpectedly, Suliang rolled his eyes and said, "Are you dreaming? I praised you once, forget it, you want me to praise you again? That's too much. Brother Suliang." Tao Yao Yao stepped forward and hugged Suliang's arm. She squeezed Suliang's body and acted coquettishly. Her breasts, which were beginning to take shape, were squeezed tightly. Following her movements, they changed their shapes back and forth and kept rubbing. Brought Suliang the ultimate feeling, "I just want to hear my brother praise me, brother, why don't you just praise me a few more times, okay? Brother Suliang is the best, and he will definitely not refuse me, right?" Before Suliang could answer, a loud voice suddenly sounded, "Oh, don't squeeze, I can't even see you. It's obviously my sister who is squeezing, why are you blaming me?" Okay, stop arguing. Sister Yao Yao and eldest brother are so surprised, look, sister and brother are hugging each other, the two of them are so close and sweet. Listening to these familiar voices, Tao Yao Yao's figure immediately stiffened. Slowly turning her head to look at the door, Tao Yao Yao saw at a glance that the door that had been closed by herself was now opened a crack. Outside the gap, my sisters stood in a row, peeking cautiously, and above board, and vying to peek into the room. Seeing Tao Yao Yao looking over, the little ones all froze, and then someone shouted in shock, "Oh, I've been discovered. What on earth are you guys peeking at?" Tao Yao Yao shouted angrily. Deng Dengden stepped forward, opened the door, grabbed her sisters by their collars, and slipped out one by one. "Let's go." After throwing her elegant and dignified sister out, Tao Yao Yao clapped her hands and felt extremely angry. These girls actually dared to peek at me, they really need to be punished. I originally planned to ask brother Suliang to praise me some more, but now that they are interrupting me, I can't do anything at all. Very angry. Boom. After closing the door, Tao Yao Yao turned back to Suliang and looked at Suliang with beautiful eyes. Her face was a little red and her voice was soft and gentle. "Brother Suliang, my gratitude to you is not a lie. Yes, brother Suliang has helped me so many times, it's time for me to repay brother Suliang once. In return, Yao Yao can meet brother Suliang's request. As long as brother Suliang wants it, Yao Yao will try its best to realize it." "Real?" Suliang asked rhetorically. "Real." Tao Yao Yao answered firmly. "Any request is acceptable." Suliang asked rhetorically. "Whatever you ask for is fine. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator." Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 355. Even if brother Suliang wants me, I can do it? Tao Yao Yao didn't say these words, but listening to Suliang's repeated questions, Tao Yao Yao seemed to realize something, and her delicate and tender face turned red. "In that case, then I have to make a request." After thinking for a while, Suliang said, "Okay, I'm ready." Tao Yao Yao nodded firmly. She was a little panicked about what she imagined was coming, but more importantly, she was full of sweetness and expectation. Immediately, Tao Yao Yao got ready and closed her eyes. Volume 1 Hashtag Chapter 334 How to Control Your Daughter and Teach You How to Charm Your Sweetheart. Tao Yao Yao pouted and waited for a long time, feeling anxious and expecting at the same time, but she couldn't wait for the imaginary touch to arrive. What's going on? What's going on? Why hasn't Brother Suliang taken action? Is he shy? Probably not. He was not shy even when I was so close to him in Shengjing. Or maybe he still doesn't trust me. Probably not, everyone is so sincere. The longer she waited, the more uneasy, anxious, and expectant Tao Yao Yao felt in her mind. All kinds of emotions were cluttered in her mind, making it difficult for her to think clearly. At this moment, she heard Suliang ask, "Well, I do have a place, it should be nearby, that I want to ask you about." After reporting the location, Suliang asked, "Yao Yao, do you know where this place is?" Hearing Suliang's voice, Tao Yao Yao immediately widened her eyes and looked at Suliang in disbelief. You just want to ask this?" "Yeah, what else?" Suliang looked confused, as if he couldn't figure out what was wrong. "You said that you can satisfy any request I have. In that case, if you know the location, please tell me." I already, but you only care about the location of a place." Tao Yao Yao was filled with disappointment and felt lost. Her eyes looking at Suliang were full of resentment. "They have all come to my door, but not only do you not have the slightest idea about me, you actually only care about one location? Am I so unattractive to you? I regret." Tao Yao Yao was so angry that Suliang stomped her feet and scolded, "Humph, Suliang, you are such a blockhead, even if I knew where that place was, I wouldn't tell you." After saying that, Tao Yao Yao turned around, opened the door, and left angrily. However, not long after she left Suliang's room, she bumped into her mother. "Hey, with the way you look like this, it looks like you were dumped." The beautiful woman sect leader saw Tao Yao Yao's anger, her eyes were slightly red, and she looked aggrieved, so she couldn't help but joke. Unexpectedly, these few words of hers stimulated Tao Yao Yao again. "I would rather be dumped than that, because in this case it would at least prove that he still cares about me. But what now? They don't even want it for themselves, okay. This is more miserable than being dumped." Tao Yao Yao felt that she was about to cry, but when facing her mother, she didn't want to show her weak side, so she just gritted her teeth and held on with a cold look. "This has nothing to do with you. What's the relationship? Why do you care so much? Tisk, 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 why, are you angry because of me talking about the central issue?" The beautiful woman sect leader looked at her daughter with more amusement. This strange look was so exciting that Tao Yao Yao exploded on the spot. But immediately after, the beautiful woman sect leader's words immediately turned off Tao Yao Yao. "Do you want to know how to win his heart? Mother, you know." Tao Yao Yao immediately turned from anger to joy, and there was even a hint of fawning on her pretty face. She boldly approached her mother and said, "Mother, I am your daughter. You just have to bear it and watch your daughter love you but not love her." "Humph, this is not called submission. What is between mother and daughter is called family affection." "Yes, family affection." Seeing her daughter's slightly flattering expression, the beautiful woman sect leader had an undetectable smile on her face. "Do you really think that I can't manipulate this girl like you? You are my daughter, and there are 10,000 ways to manipulate your daughter. Do you want to know?" After thinking for a moment, the beautiful woman sect leader asked, "Yao Yao, do you know why he doesn't care about you and cherish you?" I don't know, please ask mother to clarify." Tao Yao Yao also thought for a long time, and finally said sadly. She felt that she had taken the initiative enough. She gave Suliang benefits like that when she was in Shengjing, and she had directly told him what she wanted him to do before, but he was not moved. What can this do to Tao Yao Yao? Huh, that's because you don't know how to be reserved and tactful enough. The beautiful woman sect leader snorted softly, seeming to express dissatisfaction with her daughter. Yao Yao, you have to understand that giving too freely will not arouse the interest of the opposite sex. They may be interested in your beauty for a while. But as long as they get tired of it, you will be disposable. And for someone like Sul Yang, he won't even get tired of you, because he won't have any interest in you at all. Yes, is that so? Tao Yao Yao said in confusion. After thinking about it carefully, she felt like her mother was right. Thinking about it carefully, whether it was when she was in Shengjing or when she returned home, every time she tempted Sul Yang with various charms, Sul Yang never took the initiative. He didn't even feel like he was being charmed. His mind was very clear. Then, what should I do? Immediately, Dao Ao asked her mother in confusion. Don't worry, I'm your mother, how could I not help you? Patting his daughter on the shoulder, the beautiful woman sect leader had a cold smile on her face, and said, come, follow me, and I'll show you the real charm of our women, called reserve. As long as you can learn this, just Sul Yang, how can you resist? Isn't it in the palm of your hand? After hearing this, Dao Ao Yao immediately had a scene in her mind where Sul Yang was madly in love with her, making her smile unconsciously. Immediately, Tao Yao Yao followed her mother to her mother's room. After closing the door, the beautiful woman looked at her daughter and said softly, watch it, I will only show you this once. The words fell. The beautiful woman took a step forward and stood in front of her daughter, with an elegant smile on her face and her hands folded in front of her belly, looking dignified and elegant. Next moment, the owner of the beautiful woman's sex stretched out her jade hand, and gently lifted her daughter's chin with her slender jade fingers. She didn't say a word, but just blinked her shining eyes and looked at her all the time. In those eyes, it was like stars were twinkling, stars were flowing, and all kinds of affection were hidden deep in them. Although they were not famous, they could be felt very accurately. Wisps of delicate fragrance hit the nose and lingered on the tip of the nose for a long time. The delicate and mature face was right in front of the eyes. Between the breaths, the warm breath hit the face, making people feel itchy and warm, with a faint floral fragrance. Gilu. Tao Yao Yao swallowed hard and felt that her mother at this moment had an indescribable charm. This kind of charm can make people intoxicated in an instant, making people addicted to it. They can't extricate themselves forever, and they are deeply trapped in it. It is far from comparable to Tao Yao Yao's low-level temptation before. This is the real charm, the real charm. Tao Yao Yao could not help but feel in her heart that at this moment, even she, as a daughter, felt a little excited, and she couldn't help but want to pour into her arms and take pity on her. Even I am like this, so what if I am like this to brother Sul Yang? He is sure that there is absolutely no way he can resist it, right? Thinking of a bright future in her heart, Tao Yao Yao laughed. Volume 1 # Chapter 335 Madam, please respect yourself. The scene in the dream flashed away, and for the first time, Tao Yao Yao had the idea of studying with her mother. Even if I am bound by etiquette, even if I am dignified and elegant, even if I really study and become a lady, I will definitely make Sul Yang fall in love with me. Absolutely, definitely, let Sul Yang hold me in the palm of his hand. Thinking secretly in her heart, Tao Yao Yao solemnly said to her mother, please teach me, I want to learn from my mother. Well, you have such a heart, I'm very happy for my mother. The beautiful woman sect leader nodded, showing a satisfied and cheerful smile, get ready as soon as possible. From today on, I will start teaching you. Oh, my girlfriend has been fighting with me for so many years, but in the end, didn't she just follow me and learn from her? It took all the hard work, but it was finally done. Thinking in her mind, the beautiful woman sect leader smiled even more, but in Tao Yao Yao's eyes, this smile always felt a bit scary. Shouldn't I promise my mother? Tao Yao Yao swallowed hard, and suddenly felt a little regretful that she had agreed to her mother. In his spare time, Suliang wandered around the demon sect family. Suliang has been in the righteous path for a long time. Apart from the previous Yin-Yang Dao sect, this is the first time he has come to the territory of the demonic path, especially from a noble family. He is also very curious about everything in the demonic path. Along the way, Suliang met not many members of the aristocratic family, but met many Tao Yaoyao's sisters. Walking on the road, a voice similar to Tao Yaoyao's but more steady and elegant sounded, "Master Su is wandering around the mansion, but what important things need to be done?" Suliang turned around, just in time to see Tao Yaoyao's daughter, who was as rich as gold, standing behind him and bowed. "It's nothing to do, just hanging out, don't pay attention to me." Suliang waved in greeting. "In this case, do you need me to find someone to accompany Mr. Su? My sister and mother have things to do and are unable to accompany Mr. Su for the time being. Please forgive me, Mr. Su. No need to go to such trouble, I can just go shopping alone." Suliang declined the girl's kindness and was about to turn around and leave. Behind the girl, a smaller girl stretched out her head and greeted him with a smile. "Hello, Brother Su." "Well, hello." Suliang greeted her with a smile, but couldn't remember the girl's name. Thinking about it carefully, it seemed that she had never introduced her to him. As the elder sister, the rich girl pulled her sister out from behind and said angrily, "Okay, don't disturb Mr. Su's leisure time. Let's leave quickly. We still have things to do." "Oh." The little girl nodded in frustration, as if she felt a little regretful because she couldn't play with Suliang, but she still said to Suliang, "Brother Su, when everything is fine, I will go and play with you, but you must stay with me." "Okay, welcome." Suliang nodded and watched his sister holding her hand and walking away together. Tao Yaoyao's younger sisters have different personalities and are all cute. Suliang shook his head and smiled, then turned around and continued wandering. But at this moment, Suliang felt his eyes go dark, and a pair of soft, fleshy little hands covered his eyes, blocking his sight. "Brother, guess who I am?" A soft and delicate voice with a little milky sound sounded. Listening to the voice, Suliang knew that this was another sister of Tao Yaoyao. But Suliang didn't point it out directly. Instead, he pretended to think, "Let me think about it, is it Yaoyao?" "No, no, big brother, you guessed wrong. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 356. The figure behind him walked back and forth, seeming to be shaking his head. "Did you guess wrong? Then let me guess again, then it must be Madam." Suliang guessed again, pretending to be confused. "Oh, big brother, you are so stupid." The voice behind him couldn't bear it anymore. He released his hand covering Suliang's eyes and jumped in front of Suliang, revealing a young and cute face that was very similar to Tao Yaoyao, with his mouth bulging and looking angry. "Am I very similar to my mother-in-law? Brother, can you guess this wrong?" Suliang stopped playing with the little girl. He just touched her head and said with a smile, "Little sister, what do you want from me? I saw big brother hanging around at home, so I just came to say hello. Big brother, do you want to come and play with me?" The little girl immediately forgot her previous voice, and just stared at Suliang with shining eyes, full of expectation. "Next time, brother, I still have things to do now." Suliang touched the little girl's head again. The little girl was only 14 or 15 years old. She was lively, cute, and innocent, so she really enjoyed Suliang's head touch. "Oh well." The little girl nodded, a little regretful, but still didn't bother and skipped away. After that, every time Suliang walked a certain distance, he would meet one of Tao Yaoyao's sisters. In just a moment, Tao Yaoyao's sisters would take turns appearing in front of him, using various interesting and funny methods to interact with Suliang. Meet and greet. She doesn't look like a witch from the demon section. Instead, she's extremely innocent, adorable, and innocent. She's completely different from those people in the demon sect that Suliang saw before, who are very thoughtful, cruel, and violent, and will kill your whole family if they disagree with you. Send away Tao Yaoyao's last sister. This little girl was hiding in the shadows, pretending to be an invisible thing to scare Suliang, but Suliang saw through it and almost made her cry. She asked for a hug in a coquettish voice. There was no blood on Suliang's face. Looking at the back of the little girl, Suliang said to himself curiously, "It's really strange. These girls are innocent and cute, and don't look like any demon section. The disciples who are occasionally seen in the family are also humble and polite, without any sense of violence. It's almost more like the right way than the right way. How does such a family survive in the devil's way?" As soon as he finished speaking, a figure quietly appeared next to Suliang. It was Tao Yaoyao's mother, the beautiful lady of the aristocratic family. The beautiful woman sect leader answered softly, "As a member of the demon sect, I can't be more kind and simple under the influence of my ears and eyes. These girls may only be doing this to you. After all, you are able to capture the most rebellious member of the opposite sex in my family, Yao Yao. Everyone will be curious about you." While speaking, the beautiful woman sect master came close to Suliang, gently pinched Suliang's arm with her white and soft jade hands, and pressed her whole body against it. Her plump figure leaned against Suliang's body without any care. Moment. The elasticity of the proud peak is astonishingly soft, and the delicate body is soft and gentle, as soft and flawless as white jade, and as smooth as silk. This soft touch makes people linger, and they don't want to put it down again after touching it. The delicate and mature flawless face came closer to his eyes. The beautiful woman sect leader exhaled like orchid, and the delicate fragrance lingered on the tip of Suliang's nose, which made Suliang want to find out. Such a mature and perfect beauty has extraordinary beauty and is really hard to let go of. But Suliang subconsciously took a step back. "Madam, please respect yourself. Madam, please respect yourself, what a ghost. Can anyone explain to me what Tao Yaoyao's mother wants to do? Self-respect." The beautiful woman sect leader blinked her starry eyes, with a wave-like smile on her face. "What are you talking about, nephew? This is just an ordinary closeness. After all, you are my junior, and you and I are like this. Being so close, can anyone dare to say anything?" The words fell. The beautiful lady sect leader took a step back on her own, and when she clicked, she put her hands in her sleeves and closed them in front of her lower abdomen, with a faint smile on her face. She looked like a dignified and elegant lady, which actually made people feel the desire to conquer. But Suliang never imagined that in fact, the beautiful woman sect leader came to look for him this time and made an act that could be called excessive intimacy. She was completely setting an example to his daughter, letting her understand that being reserved and dignified is the right thing to do. Charm. Really? At this moment, Tao Yaoyao, who was hiding in the dark and quietly observing her mother's behavior, felt that she had indeed learned a lot when looking at the scene in front of her, and she had already seen the results of what she had learned in advance. "But I just have an inexplicable feeling, and I feel very uncomfortable. His mother is flirting with his sweetheart. Although the purpose is to set an example for herself and reassure herself, no matter what Tao Yaoyao thinks, she still feels very uncomfortable. And, if Tao Yaoyao really couldn't imagine that result. To this end, Tao Yaoyao murmured softly, "I have to speed up my study. I have to learn everything about my mother as soon as possible. Then, I will hold Brother Suliang firmly in my hands and not give anyone else any chance." Well, if I had known that this would happen, I would have studied hard with my mother, ugh. Tao Yao Yao let out a low whimper, and an indescribable sense of urgency arose in her heart. At the same time, Suliang looked at the beautiful woman sect leader who kept a safe distance from him, and felt relieved. Suddenly he thought of his master's instructions, so he took the opportunity to ask, "Madam, there is a place nearby that I want to go to. But I can't find it. Madam has always lived here. She probably knows more than me. I wonder, madam, can you tell me?" After that, Suliang told the beautiful woman sect leader the location that his master had told him. Hearing this, the beautiful woman sect leader gave Suliang a strange look, quite surprised. "The place you mentioned is within my family. What are you going to do there?" "Actually within this aristocratic family?" Suliang raised his eyebrows, feeling that this matter might be a bit troublesome. After all, it was an opportunity. To be able to have someone of the level of my master specifically tell me, this opportunity must not be small. This kind of great opportunity exists in other people's homes. I'm afraid everyone will strictly control it. How could I let an outsider enter? But after all, this place was the master's warning. Suliang was bound to get it. After thinking about it for a while, he said, "Master just mentioned it and told me that if I was lucky enough to pass by, I must go and take a look. That's it?" The beautiful woman sect leader nodded in understanding, but suddenly she felt a little distressed and became embarrassed. "Logically speaking, considering the relationship between you and Yao Yao, my nephew, I shouldn't stop you. However, the stakes here are very important. Only my family can enter. After all, nephew, you are not from my family, and I have no right to allow you to enter. Of course, this family member's scope is very broad, such as, my son-in-law." The scope was very broad, but it was only her son-in-law, so the beautiful woman sect leader was equivalent to directly defining a scope for Suliang. Is she telling Suliang that she wants to go in? "Okay, I'm not letting you in, but you must become my son-in-law first, otherwise, I'll have to interview you about this matter." After hearing this, Tao Yao Yao on the side felt a little embarrassed, her pretty face was flushed, and her peach-like eyes flashed with shame and annoyance, but deeper down, there was another kind of emotion hidden deep inside. What on earth is mother doing? How could a mother-in-law be so helpful? Do you want me to get married as soon as possible if you push me so hard? Bah, 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 mother is not someone's mother-in-law. And they just want to capture Suliang, not marry him. Snort. If you don't marry, you will definitely not marry. Thinking in her mind, Tao Yao Yao stamped her feet vigorously, folded her small arms in front of her chest, held up a pair of breasts, held her head high, hummed softly, turned around and left, feeling full of arrogance. From this moment on, Tao Yao Yao really began to study hard. With the goal of learning as soon as possible and capturing Suliang, Tao Yao Yao went directly to her mother and said, "Mom, teach me quickly." Tao Yao Yao couldn't wait to come to her mother. The beautiful woman sect leader opened her slightly squinted eyes, glanced at her daughter lightly, and said in a calm voice, "Our first lesson starts with standing posture." Blinking, Tao Yao Yao expressed that she didn't quite understand why she wanted to learn this, but at this moment, in her mind, hurrying up to learn from her mother and capturing Suliang had taken over everything, so she couldn't wait to agree. "Okay, I study." Seeing that her daughter had agreed, the beautiful woman sect master stood up, walked to her daughter's side unhurriedly, and softly explained various essentials. At the same time, she waved the wooden ruler in her hand from time to time. Snapped. The wooden ruler gently tapped the breast, creating waves like waves. The beautiful woman sect leader said in an indifferent voice, "Straighten your chest, you have such a good figure, and it's not shameful. It's best if you straighten your chest." The stinging sensation on the peak almost made Tao Yao Yao shed tears, but her mind was filled with the shadow of Suliang. Her thoughts were firmer than ever before, so she immediately held back, nodded and said, "Okay." But as soon as she finished speaking, the wooden ruler of the beautiful woman's sect master hit her delicate hand. "Move it, don't you remember what my mother did just now?" Hiss. Tao Yao Yao gasped slightly, but still endured it. "Yes." After saying that, he folded his hands together and placed them on his lower abdomen slightly casually, faintly supporting a pair of peaks. At this moment, although her clothes have nothing to do with being reserved, her posture does have a bit of that feeling. But even so, the beautiful woman sect leader was still not satisfied. Snapped. The wooden ruler hit the soft skin behind Tao Yao Yao, and the beautiful woman sect leader said indifferently. Volume 1 Chapter 336, You promised to act, but why do you pretend to be so? You said you're a girl who seduces people and you don't know how to use your advantages when you're still a sweetheart. Or do you think that just the places he can see are enough? Humph, this method may be useful in dealing with others, but how can Suliang be an ordinary person? That's why you need to work hard on the details. Yes, mother, I understand. Tao Yao Yao's eyes were red and teary, and she was about to cry after being beaten. But in order to learn everything about his mother, in order to capture Suliang, she still held back. Persist, persevere, for Suliang, you must persevere. Tao Yao Yao thought silently in her heart, gritted her teeth, and worked harder to become stronger. Then, within a few minutes, I was beaten to tears by my mother, with tears streaming down my face, hot tears rolling down my face, and my face bursting with tears. In the room, Suliang thought hard about how he should get into that place. It stands to reason that Suliang would dare to break into a place of opportunity no matter how dangerous it is, but when the opportunity is in someone else's home, it is not so easy to break into. Not to mention the masters in the family who are in charge of each other. Tao Yao Yao's mother is a super strong person. No matter whether she breaks in or sneaks in, she will always be discovered, right? By that time, Suliang was confident that he would be able to escape unscathed. At worst, he would be able to drive the emperor to lose his eyes. However, he did not have to worry about this opportunity. He would still have to fight against Tao Yao Yao's family, which would not be worth the loss. So, it still had to be approved by Tao Yao Yao's mother. But with her consent, she has to become Tao Yao Yao's family member. How can this be good? At this moment, squeak. The door was pushed open and Tao Yao Yao poked her head in. Seeing Suliang in the room, she jumped in and jumped to Suliang's side. She said with a smile, "Brother Suliang, we haven't met today. You miss me?" "Yeah, it's okay, it's okay." Suliang said casually and perfunctorily, but his thoughts were not on Tao Yao Yao at all. See this? Tao Yao Yao wasn't angry at all, she just said softly with a smile on her face, "I know, Brother Suliang wants to go to the family's important place, but he can't enter unless he becomes a member of our family. Brother Suliang, don't worry, Yao Yao has a way to make Brother Suliang get what he wants." "Huh? Do you have any idea?" Suliang was stunned. "Let's talk about it." Seeing Suliang's interest, Tao Yao Yao smiled and said her own plan. "It's very simple. Yao Yao can just act in a scene with Brother Suliang. Since my mother has made Brother Suliang my real family member, then Yao Yao and Brother Suliang can pretend to be a couple. After you come out, we will break up. Even my mother can't say anything about it." After finishing her words, Tao Yao Yao thought for a while and added, "Oh, by the way, I will get rid of you when the time comes. What do you think, Brother Suliang?" "I don't think so. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator." Author, Fangzone Womeng. Chapter 357. Suliang glared at Tao Yao Yao. "What are you paying attention to? Things like feelings should be pure and flawless. How can it be a condition for exchange of interests? Whether it's true or not, neither you nor I are responsible for this matter. Stop talking. I will never use your method. Oops. Tao Yao Yao was extremely warm-hearted. She hugged Suliang and said coquettishly, "Brother Suliang, just agree. You have helped me so much along the way, but I have never had the chance to repay you. This time, just think of it as my repayment to Brother Suliang. Besides, apart from this method, Brother Suliang has no way to enter the family's important territory. Does Brother Suliang really want to miss what you want?" But Suliang hesitated for a moment, and there was a little bit of movement in his heart, but he still hesitated and refused. Tao Yao Yao continued, "Brother Suliang, don't hesitate. We are acting and we are not serious. How can something happen? Are you right? That's okay." After hesitating for a moment, Suliang finally nodded. "There was nothing I could do, I didn't want to agree, but I couldn't resist the warm-heartedness of this girl Yao Yao. And, as Yao Yao said, this is indeed a rare opportunity." After making an agreement with Suliang, Tao Yao Yao immediately got into the role and started role-playing, directly transforming into a virtuous little wife. Seeing Suliang agree, Tao Yao Yao's face immediately changed into a gentle and virtuous smile. She pulled Suliang up and hugged Suliang's arm. "Brother Suliang, let's go, let me take you for a walk around our house. Although you just walked around for a while, no one took you with you after all. You're not enjoying yourself to the fullest, are you?" "That's okay." Suliang blinked and agreed. Anyway, now that he has settled all the big things in his mind and has nothing to do, he might as well follow Tao Yao Yao for a while. Then he let Tao Yao Yao hold his arm rather awkwardly, feeling the soft and delicate body clinging to his body, the delicate peak. He felt a little uncomfortable, and walked towards the door. But when the two of them were about to walk out of the room, Tao Yao Yao suddenly stopped. "Wait a minute." Suliang looked at Tao Yao Yao in confusion, but Tao Yao Yao smiled slightly, let go of Suliang, came to Suliang, and smoothed the wrinkles on his collar for him. "These days, there is no one around Brother Suliang. A woman takes care of many small details, but it doesn't matter, Yao Yao will take good care of Brother Suliang." It wasn't until she arranged all of Suliang's clothes that she nodded with satisfaction, took Suliang's arm, put her head on Suliang's shoulder, and walked out with Suliang. As for this series of processes, Suliang was completely confused. It's really because the gentle and virtuous little lady Tao Yao Yao at the moment is too different from the image of a witch in the past, and the taste is really a bit harsh. From all kinds of calculations, seducing herself, to treating herself with consideration and gentleness, such a change, if it is an acting skill, then Tao Yao Yao's acting skills are also too good, right? And this is actually just the beginning. During the meal, Tao Yao Yao pressed Suliang in front of the table, and in front of her mother and all the sisters, she thoughtfully set the bowls and chopsticks for Suliang, picked up the vegetables, served the soup, and at the end, fed Suliang bit by bit. "In your mouth, wipe away any stains around your mouth." Tao Yao Yao performed the series of movements very smoothly and naturally, as if she had done it countless times before. She was really considerate, gentle, and virtuous to the extreme. All Tao Yao Yao's sisters were dumbfounded. "This is still my lawless seductress sister?" But as Tao Yao Yao's care continued, Suliang gradually realized that something was wrong. He discovered that Tao Yao Yao was not at the disguise level at all. Volume 1 Chapter 337 The goddess hopes for the fairy's forgiveness and tests true love on Nahi Bridge. This is clearly an expression of true feelings, and when I find an opportunity, I fake it and do it for real. It's not that Suliang is narcissistic and thinks everyone will fall in love with him, it's just that Tao Yao Yao went too far. I came here that night and crawled under the covers. Is this normal? Looking at Tao Yao Yao, who had sneaked into his bed and was throwing clothes out, Suliang said expressionlessly, "Why, Yao Yao, do you still want to fake it? Otherwise, what are you doing? How can it be possible for a fake act to be real?" Tao Yao Yao blinked her innocent and cute big eyes, and threw her last piece of clothing out of the bed. "I'm just sleeping with brother Suliang." "I believe you, you idiot." Suliang was filled with doubts. "Okay, you and I are different between men and women, so what's going on with you coming to sleep with me at night? Besides, come on, why are you taking off your clothes? You don't take this seriously, right?" Suliang was silent for a moment, but still asked suspiciously. In his heart, he actually wanted to ask you if this girl is really in love, but thinking about it carefully, why does it feel so wrong to ask like this? It would be better to be more ambiguous. "How can it be?" Tao Yao Yao immediately denied it. She sat up and wrapped her soft white body in a quilt, showing only the part above the proud peak and the fair and delicate pancakes on both sides. "Brother Suliang, don't worry, I'm just doing this to help you and deceive my mother. I really have no other ideas." "That's okay." Suliang sighed, and for the time being he believed Tao Yao Yao and remained silent. But then, a soft, smooth, delicate body with wisps of fragrance pressed against her body. The is elastic and soft, and it squeezes Suliang like a peach blossom. The friction gradually increases the hardness. A long, white, soft, and beautiful leg was wrapped around the body, rubbing back and forth, and the petite and white jade feet kept arching back and forth, teasing and teasing. Suliang could vaguely feel that at the end of his beautiful legs, where the peach blossoms were in full bloom, the clear condensation gradually had the potential to embrace all rivers. "Well, brother Suliang." Tao Yao Yao's somewhat suppressed voice sounded, accompanied by a little bit of hot breath, which made people intoxicated. Suliang felt that if he reached out and grabbed a handful now, it would probably be no better than washing his hands. "It doesn't matter what you call this." Suliang's whole body was in bad shape. When he woke up the next day, Suliang just opened his eyes and saw Tao Yao Yao lying next to him, with a gentle and delicate smile on his face, gently stroking his face, and her slender jade fingers touched him from time to time. "Lips, brother Suliang, are you awake?" Seeing Suliang open his eyes, Tao Yao Yao flashed with joy in his eyes. Then, without waiting for Suliang to speak, she directly stood up and pressed on Suliang. After staying there for a moment, she finally got away from Suliang. He scratched his body and took out the quilt. Then, on Suliang's body, there was a horizontal line like a snail crawling across, which was very conspicuous through his clothes. What Suliang recalled the most was the moment when the girl lay on him, that soft, smooth, slightly warm feeling, a soft touch that seemed to allow him to do whatever he wanted. He almost made him reach out and hold her in his arms, lifting and lowering his hands. Turning his head to look at Tao Yao Yao, Suliang happened to see that smooth and beautiful back, small and straight, covered by a gauze dress. After Tao Yao Yao put on her clothes, she took Suliang's clothes and sat beside Suliang's bed. She leaned her head close to Suliang and smiled sweetly. "Brother Suliang, it's time to get up. It's time to have breakfast in the house." Lowering his head slightly, Suliang saw the abyss-like depth and the white jade that was wrapped and squeezed to an astonishing size on the side. At a glance, the abyss seems to be able to suck people in. Ahem. Suliang coughed lightly and sat up. "Okay, let's set off now." Suliang was quite uncomfortable being dressed by Tao Yao Yao, and Suliang didn't even dare to lower his head. It has to be said that Tao Yao Yao is becoming more and more skillful in her moves. This kind of inadvertent little benefit that can be discovered as soon as she lowers her head is indeed a bit alluring to Suliang. Several times, he almost couldn't hold it back. After serving Suliang well, Tao Yao Yao came to her mother with a smile on her face and proudly showed off to her mother, "Mother, you see, I studied well. I captured brother Suliang so quickly it's over. Nowadays, Brother Suliang is very obsessed with others. He always says that he wishes he could hold her for the rest of his life and never be separated. Yeah, very good. The beautiful woman sect leader nodded happily. Yao Yao, you can learn everything my mother has given you so quickly, and you can use it so skillfully and get what you want. As a mother, I am very proud of you. But in fact, the beautiful woman sect master almost laughed out loud. Who said that my daughter is extremely smart and Ice Snow is smart? She was deceived so quickly. She did whatever she said. She was sold and had to pay for it. It's so easy to deceive this idiot daughter of yours. Under a towering mountain peak, 3 beautiful figures traveled a long distance and finally arrived here. These 3 people are none other than Qin Benjiao, Jing Meng, and Mu Qingqian. Looking at the mountain that was as tall as the clouds and could not be reached at a glance, Jing Meng introduced, "This is Wanren Mountain, a famous peak for sword cultivators in ancient and modern times. All the famous top sword cultivators in the world have climbed this mountain. Now, with the cultivation strength of the 2 of you, it's time to climb this mountain. Think about it, your profession should gain a lot of benefits." Hearing this, Qin Benjiao and Mu Qingqian nodded and looked at the top of the mountain with some excitement and expectation. "Can be followed immediately?" Mu Qingqian asked with a worried look. "After so many days, we have arrived at our destination. I just don't know what happened to senior brother Su and that witch Tao Yao Yao." As he spoke, Mu Qingqian sighed and continued, "With senior brother Su's cultivation strength and the wisdom of the city, I shouldn't be worried, but no matter what, senior brother Su is walking alone with that demon girl Tao Yao Yao, and going to the demonic territory is really unsettling." After hearing this, Qin Benjiao said with great relief, "Okay, Qingqian, don't worry about Sulang. With Sulang's cultivation strength and wisdom, not to mention the younger generation, even the older generation will not. It must be his opponent. How could he be in danger? I'm afraid that the witch will use some tricks to harm senior brother Su." Mu Qingqian was still a little worried. After all, the enchantress has been coveting senior brother Su for a long time. She may not hurt senior brother Su, but if she stuns senior brother Su and does that kind of thing, then what should we do? "Oh, no problem." Qin Benjiao didn't care at all. She was very open-minded and optimistic. Even if Tao Yao Yao dares to do this, she will be the one who suffers. On the contrary, Sulang picked up a stunning beauty for nothing. Isn't it beautiful? Anyway, Lang Jun won't suffer any loss, so that's no problem. Hearing this, Mu Qingqian was speechless. That is the demonic witch. The demonic witch is coveting your man, and she may strike at any time. Maybe she has already struck at this moment. You are so calm. Do you still care about whether senior brother Su suffers or not? She looked at Qin Benjiao as if she were looking at a saint. Benjiao can endure this. How can she be so great? Ashamed of oneself, ashamed of oneself. At this thought, Mu Qingqian suddenly thought of herself. Not only Tao Yao Yao, but she also seems to have been coveting senior brother Su. Is it just because of her relationship with Benjiao that she can't take action? So now, since Benjiao can forgive Tao Yao Yao for doing this, can he also be forgiven for attacking senior brother Su? Thinking of this, Mu Qingqian looked at Qin Benjiao, feeling a little guilty and nervous. Suliang and Tao Yao Yao pretended for some time. Seeing that the time was right, Tao Yao Yao took Suliang to see her mother. "Mother, you see, brother Suliang and I are so inseparable. This matter has basically been settled. It's just that there is a missing ritual. But for us demons, it doesn't make any difference whether we have this ritual or not. Right?" Tao Yao Yao bowed to her mother, and she seemed a bit gentle and skillful. She smiled and said softly, "In this case, brother Suliang can be regarded as our son-in-law. Mother should be able to take brother Suliang with her. Have you gone where brother Suliang wants to go?" The beautiful woman sect leader nodded, but then she shook her head, Still doubtful, oh, you can show off any tender feelings. It's not that I don't believe you and nephew Susien, it's just this matter. The stakes are high, so it's natural to be more cautious. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 358. Mother. Tao Yaoyao screamed in dissatisfaction, feeling a little angry and guilty about her mother doubting herself and Suliang. After all, she and Suliang were actually pretending to be. Yao Yao, you don't have to rush to refute me. The beautiful woman sect leader smiled lightly and looked at Suliang. I have another way, which can be used as the final proof for you and Yao Yao. What do you think? But it's up to the lady to make the decision. Suliang cupped his fists and saluted and said, he actually felt very guilty and felt that he had no affection for Tao Yao Yao, but after all, this was a question from his mother, and Suliang had no way to object. If he objects, I'm afraid his secret will be exposed on the spot. Then come with me. Seeing that Suliang agreed, the beautiful woman sect leader stood up, moved lightly, and took Suliang and Tao Yao Yao to the depths of the family, in front of a long bridge spanning a river, and then stopped. The atmosphere here is a bit gloomy, as if it is being suppressed by something. The atmosphere is slightly depressing and deserted. When you walk in here, it seems that the whole world has been covered with cold colors. You can't help but tremble and feel raw all over your body. Cold. The name here is Nehi Bridge, which is taken from the mythical Nehi. Naturally, it also has some magic. The beautiful woman sect leader pointed at the long bridge and said calmly, this is my final test for you. Nephew Susien, if you want to become my son-in-law, you must pass this test. That's natural. Suliang nodded and didn't care about the arrangement of the beautiful woman sect leader. He took a step forward and felt something was wrong with the river under the bridge. He wanted to check it, but was pulled back by the beautiful woman sect leader. Don't look, this is the river of forgetfulness. With my cultivation, I don't even want to get close, let alone you and Yao Yao. To make a long story short, in short, this Nehi bridge is used to test true love. It requires two people to pass it hand in hand. If the love is true, it will naturally pass smoothly, but if the love is not true, it is easy to fall into the river of forgetfulness. And if you fall into the river of forgetfulness, it will be a matter of death and no life. Not even I can save you. In a moment, nephew Susien will go to Nehi with Yao Yao. Do you dare? Of course I dare. Suliang nodded, not afraid at all. Immediately, Suliang and the beautiful woman sect master both looked at Tao Yao Yao. Tao Yao Yao was stunned for a moment, and then she stammered, of course I dare, my feelings for brother Suliang can be learned from heaven and earth. Once I love you deeply, even if the sun and the moon change, the world collapses, can't change, how can you be afraid of a small Nehi bridge? Immediately. Without waiting for the beautiful woman sect leader to speak, Tao Yao Yao directly grabbed Suliang's arm and pulled Suliang towards the Nehi bridge. Let's go, Suliang, let's go up and walk around to show my mother. Look, when the time comes, let's see how she still questions us. Slow down. Suliang said helplessly. He hadn't figured out the principle of the Nehi bridge yet, let alone how to break the situation. What was this girl doing by walking so fast? Was she really rushing to die? When the time comes, your mother will most likely be able to rescue you, but I am a liar who deceived other people's daughters, so they don't want to take care of me, right? While thinking about it, Tao Yao Yao had already brought Suliang to the Nehi bridge. Call. Tao Yao Yao took a deep breath, held Suliang's hand, and showed a relaxed, clean, and sweet smile. Brother Suliang, let's go. Well, let's go. Suliang held Tao Yao Yao's tender little hand with his backhand, feeling the softness and smoothness in his hand. He couldn't help but use force, as if he didn't want to let go. Immediately. The two held hands and took one step at the same time, crossing the Nahi bridge. Nothing seems to have happened. Suliang raised his eyebrows, but he didn't feel that the Nahi bridge was deceiving them. He just felt that it was not deep enough, so he and Tao Yao walked slowly on the Nahi bridge. But the moment the two stepped onto the Nahi bridge, the surrounding scenery quickly receded, and an extremely thick fog filled the air, blocking their eyes. The fog was as thick as substance, and even more outrageous than the fog when Suliang saw his master for the first time. With Suliang's current eyesight, he could not clearly see the surrounding scene and the things in front of him. He could only step forward, vaguely walking toward a looming bridgehead in front of him. But the strange thing is, under the bridge deck does not seem to be long and the distance is short. However, when walking on it, you will find that it is extraordinarily long. It's the end of the month, cast your monthly vote. Volume 1 Chapter 338 Goodbye Kingdi, Suhwikai, today you know who I am. The two of them seemed to be standing still, as if they could never get out of the thick fog or reach the end. On this long road, looming scenes and figures appear from time to time. At this moment, the Nahi bridge seems to symbolize the future of the two of them. Although the future is confused, it is endless, and they will work together for a lifetime. But Suliang just felt that his heart was getting heavier and heavier, as if something was weighing on his heart, making him almost unable to breathe. After being silent for a long time, Suliang suddenly confessed, Yao, it's really hard for us to deceive each other's feelings like this. Is it good? Regardless of whether they have true feelings for each other, Suliang knows that he will have a guilty conscience if he uses the girls around him to help him accomplish things. Emotions are a sacred thing, how can we tolerate such deception? Suliang himself felt that he could not enjoy all this with peace of mind. After hearing this, Tao Yao looked at Suliang, her eyes were pure and full of emotion. After looking at Suliang for a moment, she suddenly chuckled and asked innocently, Brother Suliang, do you really not like me at all? After finishing her words, Tao Yao stepped aside and approached Suliang. Her voice was soft and she said, I want to hear what Brother Suliang has to say. Suliang paused for a moment, then continued moving forward without saying a word. But Tao Yao was so satisfied that she hugged Suliang's arm directly, Brother Suliang, I already understand your intentions. What are deceiving each other and what are just friends? This is nothing more than duplicity. As for others, in Brother Suliang's heart, he heard what he wanted to hear. Tao Yao's joyful laughter echoed in the mist on Nahi Bridge, echoing far away. Immediately afterwards, this laughter, like a key, caused the thick fog on the Nahi Bridge to billow in an instant. Then, the fog gradually dissipated, and the sky and earth became clear, revealing the true face in front of him. Suliang looked down and saw that he and Tao Yao had reached the other side of Nahi Bridge. It's the end. Suliang said softly, with complicated emotions in his heart. Tao Yao also nodded, turned to look at Suliang, and showed a soft smile. The two looked at each other, smiled at each other, and said nothing, but they understood everything in their hearts. Since the so-called Nahi Bridge is a test of true love, naturally only those who are in love and love each other deeply can pass it. Along the way, Suliang and Tao Yao did not use any means, they all relied on themselves to overcome confusion and reach the other side. This is already very telling. Let's go off the bridge. Suliang chuckled lightly and took Tao Yao's soft, boneless white jade hand. The two of them walked in the same pace and stepped across the Nahi Bridge in one step. When I turned around and looked back, I saw that the Nahi Bridge was completely peaceful, without any of the mysterious appearance just now. However, the two turned around again and walked back from the Nahi Bridge. There is really only one road nearby, and there is no way to go around it. Fortunately, on the way back, Suliang and Tao Yao never encountered any strange things. It was as if the two of them had been bridged by Nahi. This was not a wide bridge. From now on, they would just let it go. The two of them moved forward. Well, you passed the test, which proves that the love between you two is indeed sincere. The beautiful woman came forward and nodded with satisfaction. Her eyes looking at Suliang were really kind and kind. Nephew Susian, from now on, you are my son-in-law. Yao Yao girl, I'll leave it to you. Ahem. Suliang coughed slightly and felt that the fake show he and Tao Yao Yao had done was enough now. It was really difficult to answer what his mother said. What he cared about was another thing. He and Tao Yao Yao walked around the Nahi bridge and proved their true love. This matter should be possible. Really? The beautiful woman's sect leader's next sentence was, as the sect leader, I have given permission for Nephew Su to go to that important place. Nephew will take a short rest while I prepare. I will take Nephew Su to the ancestral land to find the mysterious place cave. Thank you, ma'am. Suliang cupped his fists and saluted with respect. The beautiful woman's sect leader looked at him with a smile, but not a smile. Maybe, it's time to change my words. Say it. Without waiting for Suliang's response, she left directly. The ancestral home of the demon sect family, in the mysterious cave. The beautiful sect master led Suliang as he walked in the cave. He looked at the candlelight all around and the dark and inexplicable road ahead. Suliang vaguely felt that something existed in it, as if, calling him. The beautiful woman sect master said nothing, but occasionally turned to look at Suliang. Seeing that Suliang could walk here freely, and seemed to have discovered everything she had ever felt, an inexplicable feeling arose in the beautiful woman sect master's heart. Feel. Suliang, maybe he is the destined person that my family has been waiting for thousands of years. Perhaps. It's unknown whether he can actually enter it. Stopping deep in the cave, the beautiful woman sect master turned sideways to Suliang. At this point, I can't go any deeper. You can only walk the road ahead by yourself. Whatever you can get depends on your own luck. Thank you, ma'am. Suliang cupped his fists and saluted, and walked forward slowly. Unlike the beautiful woman sect leader who couldn't go deep, Suliang walked forward step by step without feeling any obstruction. Vaguely, he felt that the feeling calling him deep in the cave was becoming more and more obvious. Even with every breath, he seemed to feel that the thing inside was keeping pace with him. It was as if the thing inside should belong to him. After walking for who knows how long, a huge bronze door suddenly appeared in front of Suliang. On the bronze door, a huge shackle was blocked. The shackles exuded an ancient atmosphere. They seemed to have existed for thousands of years, but they were still not rusty at all, as if they were waiting for Suliang's arrival. Suliang walked forward slowly, stretched out his hand, and flicked the shackles. Click. Along with a burst of breaking sounds, the strong and ancient shackles suddenly became full of cracks. The next moment, they suddenly shattered and turned into countless fragments, scattered on the ground. Ignoring the debris on the ground, Suliang pressed his hands on the bronze door with both hands. Crunch. There was a squeaking sound as the bronze door was slowly pushed open, revealing the eternal darkness inside. Without hesitation, Suliang raised his foot and entered. In an instant, in the space behind the door, circles of candles embedded in the wall suddenly lit up, illuminating the entire space, leaving no trace of darkness. And in this light, Suliang discovered that not far in front of him, sitting on a throne on a high platform, was a familiar figure sitting on a throne. Qing Emperor. Looking at the figure that he had seen several times when he obtained the Qing Emperor's inheritance, Suliang called out softly. Here. It turned out to be the place left by Qing Emperor. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 359. That is to say, will there be a Qing Emperor inheritance here? No wonder, Master asked him to come here. So what's going on with the figure of Qing Emperor on the high platform? Phantom, or? Thinking in his mind, Suliang stepped forward to investigate carefully. But right now, as if something had been touched by Suliang's voice just now, the Qing Emperor's figure on the high platform suddenly stood up, and then disappeared suddenly. It's movable. Suliang's heart suddenly felt horrified. A capable figure of the Qing Emperor, even if it only retained 1% of the Qing Emperor's strength, was beyond his ability to deal with. But the next moment, Qing Emperor suddenly appeared in front of him again, and an invisible force instantly imprisoned Suliang's entire body, making him unable to move. Subsequently, Suliang watched helplessly as King Di stretched out a finger and gently tapped his forehead between his eyebrows. An inexplicable feeling appeared in Suliang, making Suliang understand the essence of what King Di was doing at this time. This is open sui with one finger. Moment. Along with a powerful force, many pictures and information were awakened from the deepest part of Suliang's consciousness. The amount of information was huge, and it was revived instantly, almost bursting Suliang's head. Boom! The sea of consciousness roared, and Suliang was stunned by this information. He returned to the sea of consciousness, and with the help of King Di, he began to sort out and master the information poured into his mind. Gradually, Suliang's consciousness returned, and the churning in the sea of consciousness stopped. He already understood what this sudden message and picture was. That is what Qing Emperor has learned throughout his life, including what he obtained from the previous two inheritances of Qing Emperor. They are all included in it. Taking this opportunity, they have been carefully sorted out. Now, they have understood it. Immediately afterwards, the aura on Suliang's body began to rise, and in just a moment, he jumped up and reached the 5th level of immortality. After reaching the realm of immortality, one can actually advance in cultivation like this. This kind of thing is simply unheard of. Clenching his fists, Suliang could feel at this moment that if he faced the demon clone again, he could kill it with just a wave of his hand, so why crush it? Here, it is indeed a great opportunity, and it is an opportunity that is almost tailor-made for myself. Looking at everything in the cave, Suliang smiled, but something suddenly attracted his attention. Walking over, Suliang looked at the scroll on the wall, stretched out his hand and touched it gently, feeling confident. This scroll, I am afraid it is hundreds of years old, but this cave has never been in contact with the outside world. Whether it is canvas or paint, and the special materials used, it can be so well preserved and lifelike, as if it had just been painted. Only, how could a scroll from hundreds of years ago be left behind in the Qing Emperor's place that no one has entered for thousands of years? Suliang Liang looked at the content on the scroll with doubts. It soon became apparent that what was painted on the scroll seemed to be a secret about the existence of magic. This secret may not be worth much, but being able to know the secret is itself a manifestation of the level, and it can also allow people to understand the truth of time. In today's world, those who can clearly understand the secrets of hundreds of years ago must be at least as high as the master of the sect and the leader of the good and evil. Volume 1 Chapter 339 Destiny chooses the heroines who are targeted. There was time written on the scroll, and Suliang took a quick glance at it. The content in the painting was about the young man 300 years ago, who once cut off the lifeline of the demon sect for hundreds of years by himself. The reason is unknown, the process is unknown, and the result is unknown, but to be able to cut off a century-old lifeline by one person, this kind of cultivation is probably already reaching the heaven and earth. And, looking at the young man in the painting, Suliang always felt a little familiar. Taoism follows nature, a lazy junior brother from Taoism. After thinking carefully for a moment, Suliang found something similar to it in the memory of his mind. At this thought, Suliang frowned slightly and had an extremely bold guess in his mind. From the Qing emperor to the lazy young man who followed the Taoism naturally, is the simulation of two lives related to reality? With doubts, Suliang Zhong asked the system, does the world in the Sims have anything to do with reality? Or is it what happens in reality? But what made Wu Wu helpless was that when faced with Suliang's inquiry, the dog system dived directly without saying a word or giving any reaction. This time, Suliang didn't even move anymore. This shit system, it's a Cao thief. When there are benefits to be obtained, he comes out faster than anyone else. Once there is serious business, he just dives and pretends to be dead. What else can be done? Suliang didn't even know what the reason for the existence of the system was. He couldn't pull the system out and beat him up and torture him to extract a confession, right? Okay, you stupid system won't tell me, so I can figure it out myself, right? With a sigh, Suliang turned around and left the cave. The confrontation between good and evil, the battle between heaven and dragon. It has been a long time since the Tianzheng Dragon War began. The geniuses of the two major sects, the good and the evil, almost came out in full force to fight with each other. In order to snatch the dragon mark brand, there were countless deaths and injuries, without caring about the consequences. As the number of participants dropped sharply, the Tianzheng Dragon War has reached its final stage. This stage is called Destiny Choosing the Master. The two paths of good and evil have existed for so many years. Although there have been many twists and turns after the foundation, they have always been in full swing. With such a huge amount of luck instilled and cultivated, the so-called luck has a spirit is not nonsense. Under such circumstances, the fate of the two paths of good and evil will naturally choose the darling of the current century. The people chosen are all people with profound blessings. They can be called the sons of the century, enough to control the world and exert pressure for the whole world. However, this kind of destiny selection is not completely certain. Even if the destiny enters the body, it can be taken away. Then, this so-called final stage also has a lot of room for maneuver. It is conceivable that after destiny chooses a master, no matter who the master is, there will probably be a bloody battle in the world. This day. Roar. The sound of the dragon's roar shook the sky, and the luck turned into the shape of a real dragon and flew across the 9 heavens, hovering for half a day, and then separated into two parts, good and evil, each dispersed and chose its master. At the same time, the right path is above Wanren Mountain. Mu Qingqian, who was climbing Wanren Mountain with her master, Qin Benjiao, suddenly froze. The next moment, a stream of physical luck descended from the sky and entered her body, no longer distinguishing between them. Next moment, the light beam of luck shot into the sky, and the extremely strong feeling of luck was like a beacon in the darkness, making Mu Qingqian highlighted, and even ordinary people could not ignore it. Master, this is... Mu Qingqian didn't react for a while and didn't know what was going on. On the other side, the demon sect family. Tao Yaoyao, who was waiting for Suliang to walk out of the cave, was also shrouded in a light of luck. The light of luck gradually disappeared into Tao Yaoyao's body and disappeared, leaving only a pillar of luck, which shot straight into the sky and was conspicuous. Extremely. You can imagine. Whether it was Mu Qingqian or Tao Yaoyao, at this moment, they all became public enemies. Wanren Mountain. Jingmeng frowned and looked at the beam of luck on his apprentice's body, feeling a little emotional. I didn't expect, Qingqian, that you would be chosen by luck. This is also your luck. After hearing this, Mu Qingqian reacted immediately. After all, she is a disciple of the sect master. How could she not know the entire process of the Tianzheng Dragon War? That is to say, Qin Benjiao on the side looked a little strange. Are we being targeted by everyone now? Jingmeng nodded, but he didn't feel much nervous. The destiny lies with the son of the century. As long as he is participating in the Tianzhen Dragon War, who wouldn't want it? So, I'm afraid that now, all the geniuses of good and evil will become your enemy. This is a part of the test. After finishing his words, after thinking for a while, Jingmeng continued, it's okay for the proud ones of the devil's path. They should be held back by the people chosen by the devil's luck, but you have to deal with the right path by yourself. I, as the master, can't do it. It's not easy to take action. Master, don't worry. This disciple will definitely live up to master's reputation and live up to master's expectations. Mu Qingqian said firmly. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard rustling movements around him, as if someone was approaching secretly. Base. Taking action with the long sword, Mu Qingqian looked around warily. Who is it? Get out. Next moment, countless prodigies exuding terrifying aura jumped out from everywhere around them, menacing and with murderous intent on their faces. Obviously, these people are here to compete for luck. Did they get together so quickly and start besieging themselves? Looking at these geniuses, the number of geniuses was quite good and their strength was not too strong. Mu Qingqian thought to herself that she should be able to handle them. But how long did it take for her to gain luck? The fact that these geniuses could cooperate so quickly and besiege her in Wanren Mountain really made Mu Qingqian a little emotional. However, she didn't say anything. The moment the luck entered his body, Mu Qingqian was like a large lighting lamp in the dark night, and was immediately noticed by the proud people participating in the Tianzhen Dragon battle. It is inevitable that someone will come to you, the difference is just sooner or later. It would have been better if he had eaten it earlier, so that he could eat it directly, which would save them all from joining forces, which would only make it more troublesome for him. In the demon sect family, the scene was similar to Mu Qingqian's. As luck entered Tao Yaoyao's body, a pillar of luck rose into the sky, even dyeing the clouds in the sky golden, shining so brightly that it could be seen and felt clearly even from thousands of miles away. This moment, Tao Yaoyao really became famous all over the world at one time, and was targeted by countless proud people who vowed to get Tao Yaoyao's luck. Compared with the righteous geniuses, the devilish geniuses are more unscrupulous and their methods are a little more cunning. For the righteous path to jointly deal with one person, it still needs some connection and some excuses, but for the devil, killing one person is nothing. What else is needed is encirclement and killing, just drawing a knife and attacking, hidden assassination, ambush and killing, poisoning, and so on. There are endless means. It's really hard to guard against. But fortunately, Tao Yaoyao doesn't need to go through these means yet. After all, she is currently in a demon sect family. It is such a big family, and the head of the family is a top master above all others. Furthermore, he is also a man of the demonic way. He is unscrupulous in his actions. Who dares to rush to the door and kill someone in front of their family members? If you really do this, even if you are beaten to death by the sect leader, the elders of the sect will not dare to come to trouble. Even if you are both transcendent, there are differences, who is afraid of whom? But even so, the beautiful woman sect master gradually became serious when he looked at the beam of luck soaring from Tao Yaoyao's body next to him, and the confused expression on Tao Yaoyao's face. My villain wants to clear his name, but he awakens Cao Thief Simulator. Author, Fangzone Wo Meng. Chapter 360. She really didn't expect that her daughter would be found by luck and become the last link in this day's dragon battle. Being able to obtain such great luck and become the son of the century is naturally a great opportunity. From now on, Tao Yaoyao will probably soar to the top of the world. It is conceivable that my daughter will definitely become a giant of demons who can dominate the whole world. But before that, her daughter still had to deal with being chased and robbed by countless proud men in the past. The demonic way is different from the righteous way. The righteous way may not use the elders of the sect, and its actions are somewhat measured, but the demonic way does not care about you. As long as the things can be obtained, they will secretly kill you and throw you in the dark. Who can find you? Well. The beautiful woman sect leader sighed and looked at her daughter with an inexplicably complicated look in her eyes. The Lord of Destiny has chosen you, Yao Yao. What you have received is a great opportunity that brings good fortune and misfortune together. After hearing this, Tao Yao Yao's expression became serious. In her mother's few words, she already understood the whole story. After a moment of silence, Tao Yao Yao became rarely serious. Mom, don't worry, I will definitely keep this opportunity. If it is mine, I must hold it in my hands, and no one can take it away. The beautiful woman sect leader nodded, non-committal. At this time, a figure slowly walked out from the depths of the mysterious cave. This figure is none other than Suli. Suliang stood in front of the beautiful woman sect leader and Tao Yao Yao, with a satisfied smile on his face. Madam, Yao Yao, I'm out of seclusion. As he spoke, some of Suliang's aura unconsciously leaked out. The aura was as deep and boundless as an abyss or a prison. Although he was only at the 5th level of the immortal realm, the aura was like substance. Regardless of quality or quantity, it was infinitely close to the realm of transcendence. A person who is only at the 5th level of immortality has such an imposing manner. This person deserves to be said to be so terrifying that he is invincible among his peers. The beautiful woman sect master secretly thought in her heart. Facing Suliang's profound aura, even if she was a transcendent person, she would look at him slightly sideways and feel frightened. Suliang, his talent and understanding are really terrible. At this time, Suliang looked at the dazzling light pillar on Tao Yao Yao's body and asked curiously, Yao Yao Yao, what is going on? From this beam of light, Suliang felt a strong and pure sense of luck. The quantity was huge and the quality was pure, so much so that his imperial eyes were almost ready to move. Late chooses the master, and Yao Yao is chosen as the son of the century. This is the last stage of the Tianzhen Dragon War. The beautiful woman sect leader calmly explained the situation. Nephew Susian, you should understand that luck is something that even the top sects covet, not to mention, Yao Yao's luck can be snatched away, as long as if you can grab it, it's yours. Hearing this, Suliang smiled and was not moved at all. That's it, madam, it's time for me to leave. I have got what I asked for on this trip. If I stay any longer, I will only disturb this place pure. Silently looking at Suliang's face with a gentle smile, the beautiful woman sect leader seemed to be confirming whether Suliang was sincere. After a while, the beautiful woman sect leader smiled slightly and said, okay, we'll leave now. It turns out that there really are such people in the world. Such a precious treasure is in front of me, but I am not moved at all. Ha, that's not bad. Sure enough, although my daughter is very poor, her vision is unmistakable. In the demonic family. Seeing Suliang and Tao Yao Yao who were about to leave, the beautiful woman sect leader ignored Tao Yao Yao and walked straight to Suliang. Nephew Su, Yao Yao is bound to be killed by countless people now that he has great luck. The geniuses are on my radar, but as we are all members of the demon sect, I know very well what methods those geniuses will use, which is far beyond your imagination. With Yao Yao alone, I'm afraid that if she makes a mistake, she will fall into a desperate situation. Don't worry, madam. As long as I'm here, I'll take good care of Yao Yao. Suliang smiled and promised, as long as he is around, even if the devil comes, Suliang will make him hate him on the spot. Want to touch my person? I'm afraid I'm dreaming. After getting along with each other for a few days, the beautiful woman sect master finally got to know Suliang and understood Suliang's abilities. She felt a little relieved, but she still asked, please, nephew Susian, you must take good care of this stupid daughter of mine. Although she usually looks like a shrewd and intelligent witch, in fact, she is very innocent in her heart. Don't worry, madam, I will definitely take good care of Yao Yao. Suliang solemnly promised. Immediately, the two left and embarked on the road back. Along the way, Suliang walked with Tao Yao Yao in the wilderness. There were piles of trees and overgrown weeds everywhere. In this kind of environment, there were dozens or hundreds of people hiding. It would be difficult to find them without getting closer. Tao Yao Yao looked around and asked curiously, "Brother Suliang, we have been walking all the way for so long, but no one has taken action. Do they all know that you are here, so they don't dare to take action?" Hearing this, Suliang shook his head and laughed. "You really think that I am invincible? So many people are afraid of me. They didn't take action because they were still close to your home before. They were worried that your mother would help you take action. As long as we are far away from your home, those who are greedy for luck will reveal their true colors. Like, here." As soon as Suliang finished speaking, there was a whooshing sound through the air, and countless demon geniuses hiding here suddenly appeared in front of the two of them. Base. There was a sound of swords clashing, swords and sword lights crisscrossing, and colorful attacks approaching in an instant, covering Suliang and Tao Yao Yao in just an instant. Not only that, various auras of pitch black, dark green, and peach-like pink are constantly changing in the field. This is the magic way. Someone has cast poisonous mist in order to interfere with Suliang and Tao Yao Yao. The composition of poisonous mist is complex. Several highly toxic poisonous mists are mixed together, doubling their power. Even several highly toxic antidotes can be mixed into new highly toxic substances if taken at the same time. If it is inhaled, there is no specific antidote, and it will be difficult to undo it even if you have mastered mystical skills. Volume 1 # Chapter 340, One man pushes the devil to surround and kill. And immediately after, a faint light appeared on the ground, and a huge formation emerged from under everyone's feet, shrouding Suliang and Tao Yao Yao. The formation exuded magic that could make people fall into hallucinations and block the breath. It was specially designed to deal with people with advanced cultivation levels. People. Not far in front of and behind Suliang and Tao Yao Yao, there were some areas of the ground that were different. Obviously, there were traps in them. Coupled with the countless demonic prodigies, these demonic prodigies encircled and attacked, and their actions were really crazy. Regardless of martial ethics, they used all the means they could. And the reason for this was that they just joined forces to seize Tao Yao Yao's luck. But nothing. Facing various ambushes from a group of demonic geniuses, Suliang just put his hands behind his back and glared at them. Next moment, the demon geniuses present felt that they were being stared at by wild beasts, and the hairs on their hair stood on end. Under the immense pressure of the immortal realm, they did not dare to move. Cold sweat flowed down their faces, and they were extremely embarrassed and as silent as cicadas. This is the legendary Suliang? This aura alone is far superior to many powerful elders in the sect. How did he train? They are obviously the same age. Why is there such a big gap? Who among his peers can be his opponent? Even the devil is a little confused, right? At this moment, the demonic prodigies were all stunned, let alone taking action against Suliang. Under this huge gap in strength, they did not even dare to look at Suliang. Everyone knew that with Suliang's unparalleled strength, even if they all attacked, they would not be able to hurt Suliang in the slightest. Instead, they would be killed one by Suliang. Ambush, trap, poison, you really think highly of Su? Suliang chuckled lightly and said calmly, "Yao Yao, let's go," regardless of the group of demon geniuses who were frightened by him. "Okay, brother Suliang." Tao Yao Yao said happily, took Suliang's arm, and looked at Suliang with infinite admiration in her eyes. Then, a group of demon geniuses who planned to join forces to seize luck could only look up at Suliang's back and let Suliang leave without even daring to say a word. After a long time, Sul Yang and Tao Yaoyao entered the territory of Jendao. Call. Tao Yaoyao breathed a sigh of relief, with a smile on her face. When you enter the territory of the righteous path, the situation will be much better. After all, it is the righteous path, and you still have to face it. You will never be like those in the demonic path, who can use any means. Come out, the siege and killing is already the limit, there will definitely be no ambush or poisoning. Tao Yaoyao said based on her many years of experience in the demonic path. However, Sul Yang shook his head, not agreeing with Tao Yaoyao's words. He has not experienced many confrontations between good and evil, and does not know many good and evil ways, so naturally he will not judge based on experience. Who said that the right way must be upright? As expected. The next moment, several righteous geniuses suddenly appeared in front of Sul Yang and Tao Yaoyao, each with a long sword in his hand, aiming at Sul Yang and Tao Yaoyao. Judging by their clothes, these people should be from the same sect. Devils, demons, men, and women, stop it! The leader shouted in a deep voice, today, I and a few others are going to eliminate demons and protect the way. I will kill you two demons and witches who came to my right path, and bring peace to the world. Tao Yaoyao stared at these people curiously, pointed at Sul Yang and said, I am indeed a demonic witch, but brother Sul Yang is a purely righteous person. Humph, Sul Yang, the traitor, has his heart set on the devil. Even though he is on the right path, what is the difference between him and the devil? He should be treated like the devil and be eliminated together. As those proud men said, they directly classified Sul Yang into the ranks of the devil. Destroying demons and defending the way is just an excuse to cover up and steal your luck. Sul Yang shook his head with a mocking smile, Yao Yao, do you know the difference between the righteous way and the evil way? The demonic way is indeed bad, but the badness is upright and never concealed. The righteous way, there are many good people, but like the demonic way, there are also many people who are even worse than the demonic way, but they are secretive, and they don't even act like a demon. There are excuses for everything that happens. It's so hypocritical that I want to laugh. Hearing this, Tao Yaoyao immediately giggled. She couldn't tell that her brother Sul Yang was damaging these righteous ways. Really? Hearing Sul Yang's words, several of the righteous geniuses became furious, the evil demons are seeking death. As soon as he finished speaking, they all thrust forward with their swords and attacked Sul Yang. And at the same time, a deep and powerful aura suddenly appeared behind Tao Yaoyao, and the weapon in his hand stabbed Tao Yaoyao in the back of the heart. It was obvious that he wanted to kill Tao Yaoyao with one blow and rob Tao Yaoyao of his luck. However, this person didn't know that Sul Yang had been prepared for this. Ding! There was a sound of metal and iron clashing, and the attacker was shocked to find that his killing sword was directly blocked by Sul Yang's sword energy. Next moment, there was a whistling wind in the airs, and the attacker was not aware of it for a moment. He was punched away by Sul Yang and fell to the side of those righteous and proud men. Blocking Tao Yaoyao behind him, Sul Yang looked at the attacker who was wearing the same but more gorgeous clothes as Jiao Zi, and his older face. He immediately understood and his smile became even more mocking, oh, just do it yourself, you actually want to ask the elders behind you to take action, is this the so-called right way? Madam has always reminded me that people from the devil's path would do such things, but now it seems that the devil's path is just a sneak attack together, but the righteous path is shameless and invites the elders without respecting martial ethics. Tisk, 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 where do you have the face to claim to be so righteous? Sul Yang's words made the elder of the sect look livid and he couldn't help shouting, Humph, what does a monster know? He can eliminate demons and defend the law. If the younger ones can't do it, why can't the elders take action? It's quite entertaining. Sul Yang had a voice, holding his fist, and he didn't mean to take out the weapon at all. The words fell. Sul Yang immediately took action, raising his hand and sending out several sword energy in a horizontal direction, killing several righteous people.